everyone. Welcome to the MNLCS Playoff Series number 2, which is going to be the Fighting Saints going up against St.Olaf. Both of these teams in the regular split had an equal record against each other. Well, not against each other, but throughout the entire split. With us today is going to be your play-by-play caster, Steven Sir Bucket Kangas, and your color caster, Donovan Madcast Fenris.
Struggle with your own name there, Fenris.
I am a little tired. It is 11 a.m.
Yeah, especially the day after Pokemon came out. It's pretty rough.
I was up until 4 a.m. playing that.
Don't even get me started.
But for the stream today, it is going to be brought to you by Enhanced Gaming, bringing you the best gaming accessories for PC gaming, as well as Caster's Caravan, bringing your casters for today. Steven, what do you think about this first game in the series is going to be like?
I am hoping, I don't know how it's going to be like, but I'm hoping that it's a bloodbath. We've seen these teams play against each other in week 7 of the regular split. It was a very close game with St.Olaf being able to edge out a win. I think a lot of that had to do with some of the picks and bans. They were able to get a lot of champions they were comfortable with while being able to ban out some of the Fighting Saints, well-known champions. Specifically being able to pick up Blitzcrank again. Out of their 3 wins in this tournament, 2 of them have been with Blitzcrank. So I think that champ alone has a huge impact on their ability to take the last game.
Yeah, and the only other time that they have been able to win, I believe, was with the Thresh, wasn't it?
Yep, so I think it was actually a Morgana. Yes, it was, you are right. It was the Thresh. I'm looking at the raw team stats here. So definitely all agree to me being comfortable with those hook emphasizing champions. And already we're seeing Blitzcrank banned against All Greek to me. He will not be able to play that champion in at least the first game. And then answer with a Kha'Zix ban. Now this is the new Assassin patch. And Kha'Zix and Rengar, I think, are 2 of the breakout stars from this patch so far.
Definitely. They have been insane, but we do see a Hecarim ban, which Hecarim is also a very powerful champion with the Courage of the Colossus. Last week I was saying Prince of the Colossus. Sorry about that. But we'll be seeing the second ban coming from the side of St.Olaf in just a second. I imagine they'll be banning out another jungler just because they jumped. Oh, actually is that down.
Interesting choice there. I'm curious to hear because we have not seen Deflu play Hecarim once this entire tournament, and I don't believe we've seen Exoviet play Zed. We have not. So 2 very interesting bans against these specific lanes because we haven't seen them played yet.
Yeah, especially the Zed one I'm actually more confused about because with Deflu, we've at least seen him play some tank junglers, which Hecarim fits that Baron over tank jungler. However, with Zed, he's an assassin, which we've only ever seen Exoviet play these heavy wave clear mages such as Lux and Victor. So it doesn't really fit the playstyle that they're usually accustomed to, but we do see a Talon and a LeBlanc ban. So this time around, we definitely see a lot more assassins being banned out than we did see within the last series.
Yeah, but we're not seeing, again, that Rengar banned out, so I'm curious to see if that's picked up here for Deflu. He has not been known for his aggressive junglers or assassins. He typically goes for more of the tank. Actually, so does Synos. So it'll be interesting to see if that champion is even picked up by either of these teams. It's very strong in the meta right now, but if the player isn't comfortable with it, that really doesn't help that much.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see Sejuani picked up by Deflu because with the Courage of Colossus having the shield based off of the amount of champions that you lock down with crowd control, or just enemies that are near you when you have the crowd control go off, that is massive for Sejuani's opportunity because she's usually right in the middle of a team, throwing her ultimate and hitting as many people as possible, which is only going to incentivize her going ham even more.
Could be. I could also see a Zac pick coming up here. Synos has a 100% pick and ban with Zac against him. It is not, though. It's going to be the Thresh and Ahri. Does this mean that Synos picks up Zac as his comfort pocket pick? He has had a lot of success on this champion, so much so that it's been banned against him in 4 different games out of the past 7 in the split. So I would like to see it picked up here. I think that would be a wise choice. What do you think about the Ahri pickup for a new player, actually, the Defiled? I don't believe we've seen this player play in the tournament yet. Must be a sub for the side of St.Olaf.
That is true. Usually the St.Olaf team has Wolfiemeister as their mid laner, which we have seen play a wide range of champions, Ahri being the most common throughout this in 3 of the matches. For all we know, this could still be Wolfiemeister just with a changed name. We haven't really gotten any note of this, so there's no way for us to really know until we do a check post-game. But we do see a Nautilus locked in, which I imagine that's going to be going over to Marvelous Maven or Krell, just because Nautilus can work as either support or top laner right now, and he's incredibly powerful with the Culture Class's Mastery. And he has great synergy with items such as Zizora Portal and Banner of Command, which makes it disgusting for his split push potential.
Yeah, especially with a Jhin as the AD carry. Nautilus, a lot of CC just built into his kit, makes it very comfortable for Jhin to just unload every single ability he has on the enemy champion. But keep in mind, Synos has been known to play those kind of oddball tank junglers. Nautilus did have a run in the jungle for a while there in this past season 6. So I'd be curious to see maybe he's pulling it out for a jungle pick. I think this could be one of those kind of oddball fun picks that we've come to expect from these teams. But we're seeing a Mumu picked up for Deflube.
Ooh.
And Misfortune for Swagnarok.
Yeah, now this is where it's going to be the full lockdown combo of Mumu and Thresh is going to enable the bullet time to get an immense amount of damage. It's going to be very interesting to see how well they can pull off that wombo combo of ultimates. But I'm curious to see if they will abuse the overall bully potential that Jhin is going to have against the Misfortune due to the extended range that he holds, or if Swagnarok is going to be able to play well against Illusionist in this case. And it looks like there is no actual Zac lock-in.
No Zac for
Poppy
Synos.
top with the Nautilus jungle, so
Keep in mind, it still could be Poppy jungle. That's not very popular. Probably not, but it could be. We have been wrong. Let's not taunt the teams like we usually do.
It could also be full AP Nautilus mid with the Rise jungle. We did see the Rise jungle coming from the Saints back in week 5.
True. It's really, we have no idea. The meta in this tournament is all over the place, but I think it's safe to assume that we're going to see a top laner picked up on the side of St.Olaf's. Looking back at what we've seen St.Olaf play in the past, it's been a lot of Darius, some Aurelia, Yasuo, kind of those heavy brawler, skirmisher type champions. So I'm curious to see if something like that is picked up, or if they opt for more of maybe an assassin. I mean, we could see a Rengar top. It's not that popular, but again, it still is on the table.
Yeah, and one thing that I'm going to be curious. Oh, Rumble lock-in.
Ooh, interesting choice here.
So Rumble against the Poppy is going to be a little bit interesting to watch, just because the way in which Poppy is going to be playing is a very heavy engaged champion, while Rumble likes people to be up close to him so that you can constantly have his Flame Spitter up and against people. I feel like it's going to be in the favor of Poppy up until the point where Rumble can build a Haunting Guise. Unless if he goes for a Proto Belt early, that could also do well for him, but it'd be a little bit of a later power spike.
Yeah, I definitely think the later the game goes, the more difficult it's going to be for Krell on Poppy, unless he's able to get some kind of lead early on. And with Synos playing Nautilus in the jungle, that's a lot of CC to lock down Rumble, who is not a very high disengaged champ. I mean, if he burns his flash in one gank, then all Synos has to do is roam the jungle and come back top again, and they should be able to pick something up there. So right now, the Faker's going to have to play this pretty safe if Synos is putting that pressure on the top side.
Definitely. And we just have 3 minutes until going into this game. As a little bit of a discussion beforehand, one thing I'm going to be looking at is the overall spread of kill participation throughout these teams before, as well as their objective control in the past, because we have seen that, I believe it was the Fighting Saints that have it where they have yet to lose whenever they take a dragon, or was that St.Olaf? I know it was one of these teams.
I believe it was St.Olaf. They have not lost a single game when they have taken a dragon. I could still be wrong, though. We should take a look at that. Looking at these team stats, a lot of numbers, a lot of information. Great job by our analysts, but whew.
It is Fighting Saints.
Fighting
Saints have yet to lose whenever they take a dragon, so I feel like watching for the dragon control within this game is going to be key to seeing how well these teams can play against one another, as well as Baron control, because neither of these teams have yet to lose with a Baron. In fact, we've only had 2 teams throughout the entire tournament that have ever lost with a Baron. So that's definitely going to be something to watch out for.
Yeah, I think whichever team can control the objectives better will obviously have the better chance here, as both of the teams have been able to prove that if they do get the objectives, they're going to get the game. And also looking at the overall average win times of each team, St.Olaf is the fastest win time in the tournament with an average of 24 minutes, 30 seconds on a game. Whereas the Fighting Saints, they like to take it slow. They like to play for the long game. Their average win time is 42 minutes and 12 seconds. So that just shows the different play styles of each of these teams. St.Olaf will get a lead and run with it, whereas Fighting Saints, they can kind of push back against whatever lead their opponents have gotten and just play patiently and play to the late game.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And one thing that I'm going to be adding about that, I feel like the biggest contribution to the early game potential of St.Olaf has always been Augury to me. Whenever we see them win, it's always because they get either Thresh or Blitzcrank, which he has amazing roam potential on these champions. We see him go mid, top, in the enemy jungle, and I guess you could even say they roam so much that whenever he goes bot, it's essentially a roam bot.
Pretty much.
Gets kills throughout the entire game so often, and I believe that he has the highest amount of kills out of any support.
I think he is behind the University of Minnesota Duluth's top dog support, but we'll have to check that in a little bit. But we are going to be loading on to the Rift here in about 30 seconds. So I'm just going to go over a little bit of who I think won overall the pick and ban phase. Now, I definitely like the fact that Augury to me was able to pick up Thresh. I think it's a fantastic champion for him. He's already shown what he can do on those roam-heavy pick potential supports. But over to the side of the Fighting Saints, Morgana against Thresh was really going to shut him down in lane, which means he's going to have to leave lane a lot in order to make a big impact elsewhere. So I honestly think that the Fighting Saints, I like their overall team comp more, not only because of the bot lane, but also because of just the pressure that Nautilus is going to be able to put in on the jungle. He's not a very popular jungle pick right now, but I just think he's a lot of fun. I think he can bring a lot of unique things to the team. All that CC shutdown is just going to allow Jhin to do a lot of damage as well as their rise. They have so much CC just built into their team.
That's definitely true. However, as we mentioned, objective control is going to be key within these games. And I feel like St.Olaf had the better pick when it comes to objective control, just because the Rumble and Misfortune is going to have an insane amount of area of effect damage that's going to allow them to heavily contest these, as well as overall, Amumu versus Nautilus contesting objective. Amumu can jump over a wall. Nautilus has to flash if he wants to go over a wall. His hook does not go through a wall.
True.
If he tries to hook over a wall, he's just going to look stupid going into the wall. So...
but look at these teams. 5 skins against 5 skins.
Well, how do you decide who's going to win?
I don't know. What do I do? What do I do here? They do have Uncle Rise, though. That is a personal favorite skin of mine.
Yeah, I mean, normally I'd be a patriotic person, but with the way these elections went in the last few weeks, I'm not too sure now.
Let's not get into politics.
Yeah, no. But I will say I'm really happy to see that both these teams have actually, I'm a little bit surprised also that we see the Thunderlord's decree on Augury to me. We know that he normally likes to go aggressive, but I feel like according to the classes is usually better on Thresh right now, just because it allows him to be a lot more safer when he's going for engages rather than a lot deadlier.
Yeah, again, though, I think it just speaks to his aggressive style of play. He likes to be able to get in their face and get all that damage in one burst. So I think that the Thunderlords make sense specifically to how he chooses to play the game. Now, another thing to note here is a Marvelous Maven playing on Morgana. He's played 3 games of Morgana in this entire tournament. Actually, the only player to be able to get a win with her. She has 9 games played and 1 game banned, with only 1 win. So that's actually kind of interesting to see that although she's been very popular, the most popular support by far in this tournament, she's only been able to pick up 1 win from Marvelous Maven. So maybe he'll be able to pull this one out again. We have seen, though, Illusionist and Marvelous Maven having trouble playing the 2v1 against Swagnarok on the bot lane as Augury to me is roaming around the map. So I think it's going to come down to a lot of what the 2 of them can do together on these specific champions against Swagnarok.
Definitely. And with that usual roaming potential that Augury to me always abuses, and Swagnarok usually playing champions that are quite safe and have the ability to kind of do that 1v2 lane, the issue is that Swagnarok does not have a champion that can safely farm in a 1v2 lane. And it should be easily abusable by Cynos and Marvelous Maven, especially because you can flash in right in front of Misfortune, get the Q binding, get an exhaust, and that should be easy follow-up for a Jhin and a Nautilus. So the Fighting Saints have an easy time abusing the bot lane if Augury to me decides to roam, which I'm going to be looking forward to see whether or not he tries to get this Ahri ahead in the mid lane, or if he tries to make Right Now Faker get a big lead, or if he's going to say, yeah, Swagnarok doesn't have an easy time doing the 1v2 lane right now with how the composition is. I'm just going to help him out and say, sorry, man, I can't help on my other lanes this time.
But keep in mind, last week, again, we saw Illusionist on an Ezreal with Marvelous Maven on that same Morgana against Ragnarok on a Jhin, another AD carry that typically is not known for being very good in a 2v1 situation, but Swagnarok was able to handle that. So I think even though his champion pool might not reflect 2v1 meta, but I think that the player himself is very comfortable doing it. So again, though, I think that there's some good points there with Synos playing this very aggressive or very CC-heavy Nautilus, that it might be a different story this week.
That is a very fair point as well. Now, I am very curious as to whether or not we'll be seeing a standard kind of jungle route from both these players, because we see that they're kind of going for the heavy farm style. Aside from Synos skipping out on the Raptor camp early on, we do see that Deflute farmed out his entire bottom side jungle.
Ooh, and Greek to me, trying to go in on Illusionist, but Black Shield from Maven just lands in time.
Yeah. You have to respect like, as a little bit of a tip, the easiest way to avoid Misfortune's damage is to just completely avoid staying right behind minions, because their double up does a lot more damage, double damage in fact, whenever you're right behind a minion, because it acts as a crits.
Yeah, if it's able to kill the minion.
Yeah. Which usually is pretty easy to set up with a Misfortune. You just throw out your Make It Rain, it lowers all the minions' health, and then a single double up with the love tap should kill it.
Yeah, now we're already seeing Illusionist and Marvelous Maven getting pushed into their own turret. This is exactly what Greek to me wants. This is where he's most comfortable. When they're pushed into their turret, it frees him up to be able to roam. But it looks like he's going to stay in lane with his partner a little longer. He's a little low on mana. Might not be the ideal situation to leave lane.
That is true, and one thing I just realized about the way that St.Olaf set up the composition, usually we see all Greek to me play as a kind of carry support, which actually makes sense for why they picked Misfortune now, because Misfortune is recognized as the support of all the marksmen. So they have it where it's the carry support Thresh with a support carry Misfortune.
That is very true. Now, all Greek to me is actually getting a lot of damage. The binding from Marvelous Maven lands, and now Deflute's going mid onto X-Soviet. Are they able to burn anything? Charm lands in First Blood, going over to the Defiled.
That was also not used by Defiled, though, so that was going to be not nearly as much aggression available for if they have a 1v1 scenario. And there was no flash or ghost burn by X-Soviet, which was smart of him to try and hold on to both of them, since now when he goes back to lane, he will have a summoner advantage. Granted, Synos is there to pick up the wave and make sure that the gold is not wasted, which should put him around the same area that Deflute is now, aside from the fact that he will be a little bit behind on experience. Still, I'm kind of curious to see if X-Soviet is going to abuse the summoner spell advantage, or if he's going to see himself as in a weaker position and just back off.
And again, he did back and just get the tier of the goddess, so he does not have any offensive stats as of right now. It's going to be difficult for him, even with Ghost and Flash, to be able to outdamage.
Is Saint in the river right now near the top lane, and there is no ward from the Fighting Saints. So he is currently unseen in that area. However, he is backing. Looks like he will be finishing that back. So
Synos on the bot side now. They don't have vision of him either. He's going in onto Swagnarok, it seems, with the Lantern is there to connect, and he's able to hook Swagnarok away. He has summoner spells available, but does not use any, and Illusionist is able to pick up a kill.
Swagnarok should have immediately anticipated the hook there, flashed away, healed if necessary as well to get the extra burst movement speed, but he ended up not using either one. He does have both summoner spells for when he gets back to the lane, though, so that will be at least a little nice. It would have been better if he could have stayed alive. But one thing that Synos could have done, actually, the model of Nautilus is large enough, you can completely block out the way.
But now Krell actually going in onto right nut, getting a really, really confident, and being punished in a 1v1, giving up another kill.
I did not expect him to go in there, because he had less health than right now. And why did he use... I know you want to clear the wave, Faker, but there's better ways to do that. Your equalizer is a key ability when trying to fight people. You should save that.
I think he's assuming that he'll be able to walk back in the lane. He pushed that wave in. By the time he's in lane and we'll need it again, it will be up for him. It's already about 1/5 of the way through cooldown.
That's very true. For all we know, he could also have like a 15-second long pin, and he originally pressed ultimates back when he was fighting Poppy.
Could be very true.
Yeah, and that ward does spot out Sino, so he will be seen taking his raptor camp, and they will know which direction he'll be going because he is spotted again, so they know that he is going over to where Deflube is right now. There may be a small engagement right here.
And he is lower in health. Deflube goes in on him. The Amumu versus Nautilus in the jungle, but Defiled jumps over the wall. Flash from Sinos, lands a charm, gets a kill. Defiled picking up a kill onto Sinos, but now Illusionist is there, coming from the bot lane. Marvel's Maven caught them out. This is a 3v2. Deflube's getting on the wrong side of this, but he flashes over the wall. Flashing from Soviet. Can he get the damage? He gets it. Gets a kill in the process. Now Defiled versus Soviet. What's going to happen here? It's a 1v1 as no one else from the Fighting Saints can join in. And All Greek to me is trying to see if he can pick up anything, but he has to back off as well. And overall, a 1-for-1 trade, jungler for jungler.
Yeah, that ended up being at first, a good trade for the St.Olaf, but not too well when they tried to peel back because they tried a little too hard to protect one another. The should have just immediately bailed and said, if one of us dies, we don't care. We would have given them a better chance of surviving if they simply just ran immediately rather than trying to look for a way to continue fighting.
Yeah, but now we are seeing the ex-Soviet burn Ghost and Flash in order to pick up that kill. And the Defiled just got his Ignite back up, so he does have some advantage. But now Swagnarok actually getting caught a bullet time going in onto Illusion and say, get away from me. You are not going to pick up a kill here, sir.
They do have no displacement, so that whenever Swagnarok is locked down, he can just throw out the bullet time when it's up. But now that it is down, we will see if Marvelous Maven and Illusionist want to try and go for another pick. And Illusionist is level 6, so he could engage initially with a Curtain Call. But we do see the double up doing quite good damage against Marvelous Maven, and Krell trying to fight against right now to Faker.
Again, and now we are seeing that Equalizer is available to him. He can throw out that ultimate if he wants to.
Yeah, however, right now, it's not going to be too strong at rank 1. However, we do see the early Hanzo guys picked up, so the amount of magic penetration that he has is going to be quite high. I feel like the moment he has his shield back up, he could easily use it. Did not judge his PF bar too well.
And Sinos is on the bot side again. They go in onto All Greek to me. This time says Swagnarok. He does not have the Lantern to get away. Flashes away from the W from Illusionist. And now Deflube is there as well. Curtain Call coming in, picking up lots of damage. Deflube's got to get away. As Sinos is just tanking up everything. Deflube might actually go down here as well. Burns his ultimate, but a flash in from Illusionist. Can he pick up the kill? That's one turret shot. Ooh, almost two. But now the Defiled is here. Is this the 1v3? He's able to delete Illusionist immediately. He's going for Marvelous Maven next. Doesn't even care about Sinos, but he cannot get vision on that push. And Marvelous Maven, can he get away? Sinos is there now to take up everything, but he's low on mana. Meanwhile, Krell having a rough time in the top lane here, but down to the bot side again. Defiled trying to do his 1v2, misses the charm. Marvelous Maven does not get away as Ignite is able to pick up a second kill for the Defiled. Now 4-0-0 on Ahri.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point about that team fight, just going a quick overview of it. It started out with the flank by Sinos getting the immediate lockdown onto All Greek to me with an ultimate follow-up onto Swagnarok, which put overall lockdown very heavily onto the St.Olaf bot lane, which had immediate follow-up from the Fighting Saints.
But now we're seeing a roam on the top side. Right now, the Faker actually getting caught out a little bit. Can he pick up a kill on the Krell? In the meantime, flashes in to get the kill. Ex-Soviet burned Ghost. And that is a 1-for-1 trade, but good for Right Nut to be able to even it out. It was looking really grim for him right there for a little bit.
Yeah, it was also a great play from Swagnarok.
And the hook lands onto Illusionist. He has no Maven there to back him up, but Greek Team's taking a lot of turret shots. There's a black shield. Now Swagnarok's taking the turret shots. It's already built up 3 hits, and he goes down. A 2-for-1 trade. He turned back to try to get an auto, but he was still in range.
Not able to get the successful escape. They tried a little too hard to stay down there, and since they were down summoner spells, they shouldn't really have attempted that dive. They could have gone for a good harass to force Illusionist off of the tower, but then they should have just secured the tower for themselves, because there's still no First Blood Tower yet, and I think we can all agree that the First Blood Tower gives a lot more gold and overall map pressure.
Ooh, Defiled rushing in onto Ex-Soviet. The binding lands, and the damage is traded equally. But now Sinos is there. Defiled ult jumps away.
He did still have that one charge Spirit Rush to get away.
Now Krell might be able to catch out the Flube here. He's trying to land into a wall. He is able to get it, but no answer from the team. Soviet is not roaming yet. Now he and Sinos are coming up. A little bit delayed reaction. The ultimate's coming in. Can Defiled do anything with him? The ultimate from the Flube's coming down, but he's a little too close. What was he doing? That close up to the enemy team, and now Defile might be going down as well. It's a shutdown going over to Ex-Soviet, picking up 2 kills right there.
He had flash up. He could have easily just gone close to the red buff camp area and flash over the wall so he'd be safe. However, he decided he'd play a bit of the devil's game and just sit there and see what happens.
Yeah, I think assuming his ultimate with Defiled's charm and damage would be enough, but unfortunately Defiled was not on the same page, it didn't seem.
He also probably wasn't expecting the Sinus to appear as well. He was probably thinking, oh, it's going to be only Ex-Soviet, but we do see that Rhino Factor comes over here, uses the Equalizer in order to clear that way to make sure the tower will not go down, which should allow for the bot lane of St.Olaf to pick up this first tower, which will be massive for them, seeing as Swagnarok is kind of behind Illusionist right now and could really pick up.
Ooh, and the hook is landed onto Illusionist. Bullet time goes out, but does not pick up a kill. No Summoner Spell burn. Synos is on the bot side now, but they did see him with a ward there. And Defloob is actually answering, and I do not believe that they have vision of Defloob. So they think that this is a 3v2, but it's a 3v3, and Marvelous Maven gets caught out immediately. Destroyed. No Black Shield to answer that hook. And now Synos is going to have to help stop this turret. He's no longer Jungle Nautilus. He's got to be Support Nautilus. And mid tower is actually the first to go down. Defiled securing it.
Yeah, and with him getting the solo gold for that first tower, actually, that should be roughly 700 gold going into his pocket, which is going to be massive once he backs. He already has Umbrella Namicon. And right now, Faker, without the Equalizer, is going to have a bit of trouble against this Poppy.
Yeah, we can see he lost that trade a little bit, but Krell is very low on mana, so he's not going to be able to keep it up. And Right Nut recognizes that, says, hey, look, I don't have to be afraid of you. I can just go in. Look at the damage his Minion Wave is doing also.
Yeah, but the shield...
Oh, Curtain Call is pulled onto Dragon. They're trying to scare Flash from Synos. He actually is able to steal it. Is he going to lose his life in the process? So he's very tanky. Ex-Soviet's able to launch over damage from the wall, but Synos does go down. So it's a life for the Dragon.
Yeah, as mentioned before, Synos, the only way he can get over the wall is to a flash. He did secure the Dragon, which was very good for him, especially because, as we saw, Carl is low on mana. That will at least help him make it so he can stay a little bit longer. We already see that the mana is starting to build back up on him really fast. And there should be a tower trade, since the only one there to defend is Defiled.
Maybe not. Maybe he goes ham, goes in on Illusionist. They are able to get the CC on him, but he actually escapes with his life. That was ridiculous.
It was also almost a one-for-one trade onto Illusionist.
Oh, and Equalizer coming down onto Krell is a little bit questionable angle there. Did not quite line up with the pathing that Krell was going to go, and he does pull out Keeper's Verdict to stay alive, but again, he's so low on mana, he's going to have to give up this turret or give up his life.
We do see the Synos is coming up, and he may be able to defend during time, because overall, a Rumble will not do a lot of damage to its turrets unless he is in the overheated states. And it's going to be quite a while before he can reach that with full minion wave, and it should be quite easy for Synos to reach over there.
But we do see Swagnarok roaming top now. They don't have a bot turret, they don't have a mid turret to go for. So they're sending the 80 carry top to deal with that next one. But it looks like he won't even be needed because Right Nut can pick this up because of the pressure that his team has been giving him.
Yeah, that is very true. And they are having the Fighting Saints rotate over towards the mid lane team. They can clean up this tower real quick. But they will be met up with 3 members. Oh!
Flash in from Soviet with a flash immediately from Swagnarok.
That was a very good reaction time because they had no ward coverage to see that Soviet was there.
And now with the Floob actually going on the side of us, but TP answering from Krell. Is he in a bad spot? The Lantern pulls him away, but now Illusionist is all alone. Pops heal actually to try to get away from Defiled. It is not enough. Soviet pops Ghost, but he does not have his flash. Trying to ult in onto Defiled. With Marvelous Maven, can they get the damage or the lockdown? The Black Shield, the charm. Ooh, but the kill going over to Ex-Soviet now, but that leaves Synos all alone. 1v3 in the mid lane against Swagnarok, Greeks Me, and Defloob, and he looks to be going down. Swagnarok able to pick up that kill. Right now, the Faker actually is gone out himself, and all of these team members trying to do the 1v3s, the 1v2s, but now Defloob going in. Bullet time, that's the wombo combo we talked about. Amumu's ultimate into the bullet time, just deleting the enemy team.
We also see that Defloob barely stayed alive right there. He was on a sliver of health, but one thing to look at real quick is going to be the itemization within these teams. We can see that Swagnarok has picked up a double BF sword, which is an actually, that is an old Season 5 early.
Oh, and the damage onto Illusionist is insane. He's forced to flash away from 3 auto attacks coming in from Swagnarok.
All right, as was being mentioned before, back when Essence Reaver was first changed to give CDR based on your critical chance, we originally saw that some champions such as Misfortune, who don't really use auto attacks nearly as much to use the critical chance, but more use abilities for flat attack damage, actually enjoy having the double BF sword early on before finishing the Essence Reaver, because you don't like the critical chance stat, but you love that extra AD. So using the gold to pick up even more AD rather than the crit, much better in the long run, just because it makes that you have a much higher bullet time damage before as compared to building the Essence Reaver, and allows you to get immense teamfight damage out early on.
Yeah, I like the thought behind this pick, and I also like that she was behind in kills and ahead in farm for so long, but now Swagnark able to pick up a couple of those kills, absolutely ahead of Illusionist now in lane. But right now, the Faker actually might have bit off a little more than he can chew. Keeper's Verdict is able to keep him around just long enough for Exoviet to show up, and the kill goes over to Krell. Great rotation coming in from the side of the Fighting Saints. Great rotation from Exoviet specifically right there, ulting in at the perfect time.
Yeah, and one thing that we're seeing right now that should be something that's abused by St.Olaf is the fact that the only defensive items that Fighting Saints have built at all is Magic Resist, which, I mean, frankly, Magic Resist does nothing against a Misfortune. Yeah, you're going to stop some of the bullet time damage, but not nearly all of it.
And make it rain, you know? Maybe she's
I meant
Max and make it rain.
Don't know why I was thinking bullet time. Bullet time is physical damage.
It's okay.
But the only person with armor is Marvelous Maven, which that is the components for a Seagrow's Arm Guard, so that is showing that they are going to be wanting to go for the Zhonya's Hourglass plays, having the potential flash in, followed by an ultimate, followed by Zhonya, so that Marvelous Maven won't be bursted down before the ultimate finishes proccing. And that'll be much more of a zoning tool than an actual engage tool.
Yeah, what's interesting here is both teams have a lot of vision on each other, in each other's jungles. St.Olaf specifically knows that there are 4 members of the Fighting Saints on the bot side, but they did not see Krell back, so they don't know where he is. They might be playing a little cautiously, but they're also seem to be looking for some kind of pick here. All Greek, to me, has not been roaming as much as we have seen in the past, instead choosing to stick with Swagnarok a little more tightly in lane.
Which you did mention that would be because Swagnarok is on a champion that does not have nearly as much safety in lane when in the 1v2 scenario. But we did see that every now and then All Greek to me would roam to see if there's potential for something, but oftentimes would have to back out because there were too many people there for him to attempt something.
Yeah, and just a lot of vision control happening right here in the jungles. Both of them trying to contest this dragon.
And it is an Infernal Dragon, which is massive for both Misfortune and Jin, since both of them scale very heavily with flat AD.
And we could see a 5v5 match. Cynos getting a little chunked down by the Defiled.
Right now, the Faker could easily just throw down his Equalizer right behind where that Dragon Pit is. They do have vision over there.
Ooh, and the ultimate coming in from Exoviet with that red plant, but the bullet time is huge. The Dragon does go over the side of the Fighting Saints, but it looks like it might be an ace in the meantime. That is 4 members down. Illusionist is still on the other side, but trading a Dragon for 4 free kills, or they gave up the Flube, I suppose.
It's a 4-for-1 with Dragon over to the side of Fighting Saints. But how did Krell get it? He's on a puppy who has very low base damages.
Yeah, I can imagine just a lot of missed smites there. As we see, smite is up for both of them.
Both junglers have smites.
And we did see the Defiled getting very aggressive, flashing in to try to land a charm onto Illusionist. If they could have gotten that ace, it would have been really big for them. In the meantime, they might be able to pick up Maven here. He's not black shielding himself. Agreed to me. Almost getting a solo kill on him. He's in trouble now. Cynos is there, and Defiled cannot quite get in to help him. Illusionist can land the binding, and All Greek to me is shut down by the jungler Cynos.
Yeah, and one thing we can see that's starting up is it looks like both Cynos and Krell are going for either Guardian's Angels, or this could be Zizura portals if they build into the Raptor cloak from that Chain Vest. We'll be seeing in just a few minutes whether or not they are going for one of those 2 items. I feel like it'd be much better for Krell, who wants to stack more resistances necessarily than straight health, to go for the Guardian's Angel, while Cynos should be the one to go for a Zizura portal if they're going to build one or the other.
I think that 2 ZZ Raw portals would be very difficult to deal with on the side of St. Olaf. They don't have immense wave clear, except for really Right Nut and Ari. They're the Defile Play and Ari. They are also constantly having to roam around the map, though. It's going to be difficult for them to just be able to stay in one lane and keep it pushed out to deal with the Zerat portal as they are needed elsewhere on the map.
Actually, yeah, pointing out the potential of the double Zerat portal, that does remind me, right now Faker does not have teleport as a summer spell. He has Ignite, which means that if they do place double Zerat portal in a single lane, it's going to be pushing so heavily that someone will have to deal with it. And they don't have anyone that could deal with it and still teleport to a fight.
Yes.
So that will be a heavily favored option for the side of the Fighting Saints. Let's just see if they
And Augury to me might be getting cut out again as Synos is going in on him. X-Soviet is there as well. Only Deflube and Right Nut. That is not all of the damage from the team. Right Nut, Fake would have to do a lot in that situation in order to win that 3v3 fight. But now we're seeing Krell against Swagnarok on the top side. The tank versus the AD carry. Who's able to win this one? And Krell's actually getting aggressive on the Swagnarok. Can he pick up a kill? Keeper's Verdict goes up. Deflube is there as backup, however, takes a turret shot, flashes away. Deflube has his ultimate available. He's being very patient, does not want to burn it. And actually, Krell goes back into the Swagnarok. Can he get the kill? Oh! It's a 1v1, or 1-4-1 rather, trade as his team can pick up the mid turret. And Defiled actually getting flash in on, ulted in on, everything burned onto Defiled. That means that St. Olaf should be able to clean up something here, but they cannot as it is only a 2v4. Unfortunately, Defiled getting caught out and just bursted down. And now, ooh, Deflube bandaging in with the ultimate just to stop Curtain Call. But Augury to me goes down to X-Soviet now, and Deflube's got to run away. St. Olaf is running away with this game right now.
Yeah, and there was absolutely no reason for Deflube to go in right there. He did not have either of the carries up, and they're all the damage on the team. Frankly, White Nut Faker is not going to be doing that much damage unless he has Equalizer or if he can get really close, which against a Nautilus, Morgana, and Ryze, you do not want to get close to them.
And now it's looking like the Fighting Saints are going to rotate immediately over towards the Baron side.
This is a little risky, though, because Ragnarok does have bullet time up, and Synos is really low.
They have Marvelous Maven watching that side, but they decide, no, we don't do enough damage to it. We're going to have to back off.
Yeah, that is a great call by them. Eventually, once the Ryze starts to scale up more, essentially once he finishes the Tear of the Goddess upgrade, is when they'll be able to easily melt the Baron, because all you do is just spam EQ, and that thing is going to be getting destroyed. However, they are not at that power spike as of right now. Frankly, X-Soviet is a bit of a ticking time bomb that they need to be really careful of, because as a Ryze, the moment you get your third item is really the time period which you say, hi, I'm here, you now have to deal with me, otherwise I will blow up your face.
And what's interesting to note here is the goal difference between these teams. We just saw the Fighting Saints make a huge comeback here. It was looking pretty difficult for them for a while there. Looked like St. Olaf were really controlling the pace, but they have lost out a lot in this past 5 minutes now.
Yeah, and we do see, looking at individual lanes gold differences, we see that Right Now Faker is roughly 1,000 gold, well actually no, wait, 400. Only 400 gold ahead of Krell. Meanwhile, most of the gold difference between the two teams lies in the bot lane, where Marvelous Maven is actually quite a bit ahead of Augury to me. However, Swagnarok is over 1,000 gold ahead of Illusionist, so that does even it out. And the rest of the gold differential seems to be between the two mid laners and top laners, respectively.
And what's interesting to note here, when we were talking about were they going to build Guardian Angel or Zerat Portal, it was a double Zerat Portal build for the team, and they put them on two different lanes. So not only is Right Now a Faker without teleport, we mentioned how if they doubled up in one lane, that'd be difficult to deal with. But now they have to deal with two different lanes pushing in, and they can easily put pressure on this Baron now.
Yeah, the issue is that there's still plenty of time before those waves with the Zerat portals are going to be stacking up, just because the waves...
Ooh, Deflube going in on Marvelous Maven. Black Shield is not up for the rest of this fight, potentially. An Equalizer coming in, not landing really onto anybody. Synos going in, 1v5 onto the enemy team, lands the ultimate, but has to flash away in the process, goes down. Swagnarok picking up that kill. Deflube taking a lot of damage, actually. And bullet time does not really connect onto anybody that they needed to. X-Soviet getting bursted down. Deflube's ultimate coming in huge, only onto Krell, however. And now Krell's getting caught out. It's a 1v4. Swagnarok forcing to flash away from Marvelous Maven's binding, and Current Call's pulled, but he's now hooked by Augury to me, and Illusionist goes down as well. X-Soviet is trying to run away, but flash over the wall from Deflube is going to mean another kill onto Swagnarok, and Marvelous Maven is on the wrong side of the map, sir. You're going to have to run away. But it looks like St. Olaf is opting instead to just go for the dragon.
Yeah, with how low they are, it is going to be very risky for them to try and contest the Baron. But Dragon will be much easier to secure. And frankly, DeFluke does not have the health pool for a Baron as of right now. And the biggest part of that team fight, I think, was Ragnarok being able to get a double up of the minion to do roughly 500 damage in one single Q against ex-Soviets, which forced him out of that fight immediately and made him want to use his ultimate to escape, as well as Greek to me being able to see the exact point in which Illusionist had his ultimate up, flashing directly on top of him, getting the hook, and just saying, boy, you are a sitting duck for me, and I love it.
Yeah, and that entire fight, both lanes were pushing into the turrets, but no turrets were taken on the side of the Fighting Saints. Now they're going to have to reset their Zerat portals and decide what they want to do next here, as they are 3,000k gold behind the side of St.Olaf. So it's going to be an interesting position for them. And what another interesting thing to note is that both teams now have secured a dragon. So whoever wins is breaking the curse of the other team not losing with the dragon secured.
I don't think that's really a curse. That's more like a blessing, if
True.
anything. But one thing to look at real quick is that...
Ooh, and a hook on the Sinos. Not the one they want, but the Flu might be getting caught out. He gets bursted down immediately. Oh, he actually survived a little longer than I expected, but still goes down in the end. Now, Ultimate coming in from Soviet. Is the entire team going to come up? That's 3 members. Bullet time goes in a little late. If you popped it slightly earlier, might have been able to get more, but Soviet actually even burst out, has to get away. But Marvel's Maven rather picking up the kill. On to Swagdar, Greek me going down as well. That's a 3-4-0 trade. Yeah, St.Olaf could easily, or Fighting Saints rather, might be rotating Baron now.
They should go to the Baron. That is the better play of the two options, just because right on Faker and Defiled are still up there, the main wave clear components of the St.Olaf squad. So trying to go for a push into the base right now would be very risky and also very time-consuming. Going for the Baron, harder for them to contest, much easier for secure that.
Yeah, we are seeing right on Faker with Equalizer. Is he going to drop it onto the team, choosing instead of trying to steal the Baron, just trying to get the damage?
I was honestly waiting for the Equalizer to steal it.
Yeah, I was expecting something more along that line, at least waiting a little bit to get some more damage, maybe pick up a kill or two. But overall, Baron successfully secured by the Fighting Saints.
And it should be big for them now, just because we only have 2 teams within the entire tournament that have ever taken a Baron and lost with it, which those 2 teams are not the Fighting Saints or the St.Olaf squads. So we also know, as mentioned earlier back in Champion Select, the longer the game goes on, the more it's been seen to be in favor of the Fighting Saints. They usually win games that are much later on, which shows that they have a very strong sense of late game focuses. Meanwhile, the side of St.Olaf usually loves to win early, but lose mid-game.
Yeah, and we are seeing them pass that normal 24-minute average win time mark. 5 minutes past that, so this is significantly later than what they're comfortable playing against. And now we do see that double Zerat portal up on top lane, which means that there's 2 members of St.Olaf. What are the Fighting Saints going to do now? They have all members on the bot side.
Yeah, they could easily rotate towards bottom lane while Ragnarok and Greek me have to deal with these Zerat portals and the shove. And they could try and force the tower really fast. They could also try to force a fight in the mid lane as a 3v5, which it looks like that's what they are wanting to do right now.
Ex-Soviet gets a black shield onto him.
He does have Ghost. I'm kind of curious why Ex-Soviet did not want a Ghost in there. He would have gotten in range, could easily lock down right now to Faker.
And now Greek to me and Swagnarak are on the wrong side of their own jungle. They're going to have to be careful with their pathing back into their own mid lane here to defend this siege, as Sinos is just pushing out the bot lane.
Completely setting it up, and there's an easy setup now where everyone on the side of the Fighting Saints will join up, and that is a massive Baroned up minion wave that should be going down quite easily.
Yeah, this turret is not standing a chance. It is another one secured. Greek to me and Maven landing the CC onto each other. Sinos getting bursted down now. Greek to me is about half health, chunked a lot in that fight. Is anything else going to happen here? It looks like it. Floob is able to get his ultimate off, but he goes down in the meantime. Krell and Bullet Time coming in. So much action. Greek to me getting a little too aggressive, dying in the meantime, and Sinos is just getting onto Swagdar. Can he get the kill? He does. That is an overall 1-for-3 trade as of right now. And again, it's the Defiled and right now the Faker that are left alive. Can they defend against this push onto their bottom turret?
Yeah, and honestly, all Greek to me is playing a bit of the wrong
Soviet ulting in onto the back line. He's able to jump onto the Defiled. He goes down, and Right Nut has no chance of surviving either. He goes down. That is an ace for the side of the Fighting Saints, and it's also going to be an inhibitor.
This could actually be game. The only people that will be up in just a few seconds going to be all Greek to me and Deflub, and as a 4v2, they should be able to win that trade at most. Maybe Marvelous Maven going down since he is quite low and doesn't have too many tanky stats as of right now.
And Deflub is going in onto Krell. It seems like the Fighting Saints don't know if they want to stay or not, but they are backing off. They are able to get one Nexus turret during that push, however.
Yeah, and funny enough, I actually think that Illusionist and Swagnarok have the opposite item builds that they should be having, because Swagnarok is the one playing against the double tank team composition that is very heavily stacked in health and armor right now. Meanwhile, he doesn't have a single bit of armor penetration. Illusionist only has to deal with one guy who only has a little bit of armor right now. He doesn't have a lot of health, but with only one armor item, you don't really need the Lord Dominus or Guard. You'll be going for more crit so that you can burst down the actual threats of Right Now Faker, Files, and Swagnarok. So it's kind of funny that they built the opposing items that they would want for each other.
We are seeing, however, Swagnarok picking up Last Whisper. He does have that 30% bonus armor pen, plus all of those crit shots will be good in the late game against all that armor. So I think that it's a little against character, but St.Olaf building for the late game. But now Marvel's maybe getting caught out, has to burn his Zoni's Hourglass as well as ultimate, but it does not connect onto anybody. Is he going to be going down to Flube with a good ultimate onto Synos and Maven? But Maven might still be able to get out, as there's no one there to pick up the damage, and Curtain Call pulled onto the rest of the team. Defiled and Krell are duking it out, but Krell gets the better of that fight. Deflub trying to take all this damage from Synos with Bolt Time coming in. He goes down himself, and Right Nut is going to be taking a lot there. And actually, Deflub did not die in that. He was able to flash away, but now Swagnarok has no chance of escape. He goes down as well. It's a double kill over to Ex-Soviet, and once again, two members alive. Krell is not letting them escape. Keeper's Verdict keeps Deflub around. He says, "You are not getting back to your base. If I have anything to say about it," picks up the kill.
Speaking of base, Super Meetings have taken down both turrets, so this will be game in just a moment. Literally everyone except for okay, now everyone's dead.
And an unfortunate end for St.Olaf right here. They lose game one, but this is a best of 5 series, so they have a chance to make a comeback, but man, was that an explosive ending to that game.
That is very true, and we have to mention these average time games shows that St.Olaf is very strong in the early game, but you have to respect the late game potential of the Fighting Saints. You need to ban away those champions that have the heavy scaling. You cannot allow them to continue that style of play.
Yeah, it's very difficult for this team to win anything past that early game. We've seen All Greek to me being the reason why the early game is so good as well. His roaming constantly is putting his mid laner and top laner ahead of their lane opponents, which then snowballs the game. But we did not see a lot of that roaming from him. He was more sticking with Swagnarok throughout the entire time, keeping him alive against the Jhin and against the Morgana. So I think that, I mean, as hard as it's to say this, a lot of that had to do with the fact that there was not nearly as much lane pressure coming in from an Amumu jungle and the lack of roams from All Greek to me.
Yeah, that is definitely true. And another thing I'm going to be looking at real quick is let's just go over some of the item builds and the overall play styles to match those builds. We saw that Right Now the Faker had a very penetration-heavy build, and complemented that pretty well with the way he was playing. He was using his equalizer often, as well as trying to go in whenever he could. It was a little risky, though, with Krell, Synos, and Ex-Soviet being such big threats. So I don't think he had the right champion for playing in that type of style. And another person who I want to point out didn't really seem to match the way that they built items for is All Greek to me. He is a highly aggressive player who loves to go in, look for the picks, but he built a pure peeling build. He built Knight's Vow, which you need to stay next to your AD carry, whoever you have it on, or make it useful. And then you also built a Mikhail's Crucible, which is an item that's literally just stand next to your carry and say, I want to heal you and get rid of that CC. He was rarely ever next to a Swagnarok in that late game.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting builds coming from him. I would have liked to see more of that kind of aggressive team fight centered or pick centered builds. We saw Randuin's built on him before, Frozen Heart built on him before. So we're seeing a lack of some of those builds. But again, this is his first game in the new patch, so maybe trying out something new, trying out the new Mikhail's, trying out that new Knight's Vow item. So this could have been a more experimental match. Either way, I like the idea behind it, but I just think, again, it wasn't implemented that well. He wasn't really with the team right next to him where he should have been. He was still trying to make those picks, trying to get those hooks, but when you land them and the team isn't right next to you, it's really difficult.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and I'm curious to see whether or not we will be having more of these high pick ban champions banned on the same way, or if they will continue banning out a lot of assassins like we saw in the last pick ban phase. I feel like banning out assassins is not really a priority that St.Olaf should be having, because we know that fighting Saints are very good in late game play, which assassins are not great for the late game. Assassins are great for the early and mid game.
Yeah, and I think that would really complement into the style of St.Olaf. I mean, they want to be able to rush those games, get those early kills. So I think that maybe that's why we see a lot of those bans against them. We saw the Talon ban, we saw the LeBlanc ban, champions that we haven't seen these teams play, but still definitely could be played very well to the specific team's play style.
Yeah, and we're going to be taking about a 9-minute break. We'll be starting back up with game number 2, or champion selects for game number 2 will be starting up in roughly, 15 minutes, right around noon, for people in the Central Time Zone. For now, just go ahead, get some food, get some water, get whatever you need, do whatever you need. Just come back and watch this game number 2, because game number 1 was definitely exciting, I would have to say. Not sure what you'd say, Steven.
I'd say it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'll give it like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, true. And we can still say with confidence that the Fighting Saints are the team. Yeah, the Fighting Saints still have the record of whenever they get a dragon, they always win.
That is true. Keeping that record up. We'll see if they can continue that through these next couple games here, and we will see you then.
and sometimes he would go away too. Then one night as I closed my eyes, I saw a shadow flying high. He came to me with the sweetest smile, told me he wanted to talk for a while. He said, Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you'll never be lonely. And ever since that day,
Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you'll never be lonely. Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you'll never be lonely. Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you'll never be lonely.
ever since that day.
In these fast times, chasing lifelines for a lifetime. I've had my heart in the right place at the wrong time with the right girl in another world. Maybe we would be together still. If you hear this and resent that, I don't give a shit, I'll let it spill. I don't give a damn, I'll keep it real. Cause by now I hope you know the drill. I would never lie, young forever, I ain't never gonna die. Told me grow up and I went and showed them why I could make it. I showed them the power in youth, power in truth. The younger you stay, the closer you are to your roots. That's the reason I know I can teach you how to hit the skies, rise above them without getting high. But if it help a bit, take a little hit, take a little sip, put your mind at ease. Swear you got the keys, you can have your dreams. That's up to you, not what others believe. Jeez, I swear that's the part that's the wrongest for me. Cause when I drop into a beat, I detach from the world, view it under my feet. Orbit around my dreams, and there I perceive my reality and what it means. Music is where I can breathe, the world in between. What I am, what I was, what I will be. It's the only place that I feel free. Hope you feel me.
I am a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan. And when we're bored, we play in the woods, always on the run from Captain Hook. Run, run, lost boy, they say to me, away from all of reality. They say, Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you'll never be lonely. Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you'll never be lonely. Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you'll never be lonely. Ever since that day.
You ain't never gotta be alone. I found company inside a song. Take it off your chest, throw it in a poem. If they try to flex, show them where you going. Hating on your past, kill them with your moment. When you get the chance, drop it like you stole it. She said, I don't wanna grow up, I gotta go keep my passions alive. Please say you've heard of a place I can fly where nothing's impossible. That's where I gotta go. They said the only way up was to get in line. I'm telling you that somebody lied. As someone who's been to the other side, blurring the lines between earth and mind. She's a lost girl in a lost world, but I know what she's trying to find. Some call it music, I call it Neverland, where we can take flight and don't have to ever land. You can stay young forever if you follow your heart. No 9 to 5, tear the soul apart. Keep it safe, you can keep your soul in art. We can live alive, we would rather die. If I don't live for this, I'm not alive. I don't deserve the breath, I don't deserve the steps, don't deserve the criticism or compliments. This is who I am, this is what I do. Outside of Neverland, I don't have a clue. They call us lost, but this is the place where I was found. Take my hand, Wendy, we're home now.
I am a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan. And when we're bored, we play in the woods, always on the run from Captain Hook. Run, run, lost boy, they say to me, away from all of reality.
Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you'll never be lonely.
All right, and we are back for game number 2. We had game number 1 going over to the Fighting Saints, which, as we saw again, was due to their amazing late game play style, which I think with Big Band Phase system around, St.Olaf should be respecting a lot more of that late game potential, banning out the more tankier champions rather than these assassin options, which we saw them ban last game. Didn't really seem like the best idea for them to ban out.
Yeah, I think, again, that was a lot of just going around what they considered the new meta with this this new patch that rolled out. There's a lot of assassins being played in solo queue, or flex queue rather. I suppose the solo queue is not out yet. But we're seeing a lot of champions rise in popularity. So I think a lot of the ones that were banned were ones that we have seen played a lot, but not played by these specific teams or these specific players on the team. So I'm looking for more specific bans, maybe even bans relating to what we just saw in that last game. We saw Jin. He wasn't ahead in lane at any point. He wasn't really putting out a lot of damage in the early game, but again, going into the late game, he had really good curtain calls that not only were able to clean up fights, but also initiated a lot of their team fights. So I think that he might be a focus for bans on the side of St.Olaf, as well as that Rise. I mean, his roam potential, he went top 2 different times, got a kill both times. He was constantly being able to cut off the St.Olaf squad by just ulting in behind with Synos, and then they were completely split. They didn't know who to focus. So I think that that would be another target pick ban for the side of St.Olaf.
Yeah, I feel like a big component during that game was definitely Rise, just because it gave a large amount of chase potential to this very tanky, engaging team composition, just because with the Rise ultimate, you can literally just say, hey, I know you like to run away from my tanks, but good luck running away from this. They're literally teleporting on you.
Exactly. So I think that we could see less of those assassin bans and more of bans specific to what we just saw in that last game. But a first ban, Ashe, actually, coming out, and then an immediate disconnect. Some technical difficulty. It's not a Minnesota LCS game without some technical difficulties.
Okay.
That's what I've learned.
Yeah, it was a misclick on the Ashe. It was a misclick on the Ashe ban. That explains why we were so confused.
You know what? I think in this situation, if the other team honors it, we can go through. But that was technically a lock-in ban on the side.
No, if it's a true misclick, we will excuse it.
Okay. I guess
it happens in the LCS. It happens in the higher standing tournaments. We'll let it slide as well.
True. Okay. We'll give them that one. Just the one. We did see a lot of Ashe play earlier on in the split, however. And by a lot, I mean once or twice.
Yeah.
In that first week or two. I was expecting her to be a little bigger in this tournament than she was. We saw Jin picked up a lot. He was very popular. But Ashe has really fallen from popularity in these past couple weeks and months here.
Yeah. I'm kind of interested to see what this ban will be replaced with. I mean, if it's a double misclick, that will not be excused. Because
it could be a Jin. Again, as I was just mentioning that, Ashe, fairly similar to Jin, just with the ultimates being good initiation tools. So I think that, just substituting that for Jin, that could definitely be a seeable pick. But okay, it is still a Kha'Zix.
Huh. I'm kind of curious why. We see Synos constantly playing these tanky junglers, which not really sure why they'd go for an assassin ban again. However, we do see the Hecarim ban again. He's still very popular.
Why is that? It seems to be the same.
Why is
I think they're listening in. They're like, we're just gonna make the casters look like idiots. They have no idea what they're talking about.
It's literally the same exact bans.
Oh no! They saved Blitz for last this time. I was getting excited.
Well, I'm expecting another Thresh pickup from All Greek to me, but we do see Jin locked in for Swagnarok this time around.
I like that.
One thing I want to see change, I want to see Right Now Faker taking that teleport. That way, in case there is the double ZZ Rock portal again, they at least have a better avenue of dealing with it. And potentially also a teleport on Defiled so that he could also split push if necessary.
It definitely could be something along those lines. Maybe something even if they pick up maybe a mid laner just with more roaming potential. They could pick up the Rise themselves. They could pick up a Twisted Fate, something along those lines. Somebody who can easily get into those other lanes. But I love the Jin pickup for Swagnarok. We've seen him have a lot of success on this champion in the past. And it's also taken it away from Illusionist, who just had a really good game on him. And now Synos, again, locking in Nautilus jungle. He did really well on it before. He knew his lane pathing, or his jungle pathing. He knew when to go into lane. So I think that this is a strong pickup for him. The two champions that I was... they were able to secure Jin away from them. But the two other champions that gave them a lot of trouble that last game are picked up again for the Fighting Saints.
Yeah, and funny enough, last time we saw St.Olaf go for that wombo combo with the Misfortune, I feel like the Fighting Saints could go for that same wombo combo having to Rise Nautilus, because that is an equal amount of lockdown as a Mumu is.
Yeah, especially being able to just instantly teleport Nautilus onto the back line. I mean, his ultimate's already good at being able to knock the whole team up in the air, since he will be targeting the AD carry most likely with that. But also just being able to teleport him right onto the back end. Wow.
Mundo lock-in.
Mundo and Cassiopeia.
I believe this is the second time we've seen a Mundo throughout this, or a Mundo throughout this.
Yes, he technically has a 100% win rate because he has played one game and got the victory in that game. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're planning to do with this. I believe that was a UMD Slumdogs game.
I'm going to go quick and check.
So while he's doing that, let's try to think what ex-Soviet Illusionists are going to pick up for their respective teams here. Now, St.Olaf, they have played Morgana now. They have a 50% win rate on her. So that's 2 wins, 2 losses, potentially another pickup there. But they don't know the AD carry, or the support, rather, that Algric to me will be picking up. So I think, yep, they are going to save the support pick for last. Morgana is really strong against any supports that have a lot of CC in their kit just because of that Black Shield. So I like that they're saving her for last in case they want her. Instead, locking in Ezreal for Illusionist, which we've seen him play a lot in the past as well. And Exovi gets Poppy again. So very, very similar team comp to the last game.
And actually, for that Dr. Mundo, the game was actually with Ganked by Gophers in week number 4. So it was not the Slumdogs, but Ganked by Gophers in which that pick that Mundo got it the 1 win, technically 100% win rates. And we're not sure if this is going to be a Mundo top or if it's going to be a Mundo in the jungle. I think it should be a Mundo in the top lane because Mundo could deal with the Poppy much better than we saw the Rumble deal with the Poppy. And it looks like, a Zyra Darius pickup. So it's going to be a Zyra support, a very aggressive support that has plenty of lockdown for Jin to follow up on with his ultimates or his W.
So that means a Mundo jungle.
Yeah, that does actually mean a Mundo jungle. And a Darius versus Poppy, that is in the favor of Darius very heavily. However, I'm not too sure about this potential for a Mundo jungle. He does scale very heavily with health, which a Cinderhawk is going to be lovely for that. I just don't see the actual mid to late game potential aside from if he gets fed.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see that, but keep in mind that one victory of a Mundo, yes, it was top lane, but it's Ganked by Gophers against the Fighting Saints. So Fighting Saints might be getting some flashbacks here. Like, oh no, not again.
Maybe.
I don't want this.
Maybe. We did see that in that one game with the Ganked by Gophers. I believe the Mundo did get very fed, which is the one time that you see a Mundo as being scary. If you don't feed the Mundo, then it's not a threat, which a Poppy should be able to stay somewhat alive. She will be under a lot of threat from the cleavers, but overall, there shouldn't be too much of a kill potential within this top lane. It will be a little funny to see if there is if there is an aggressiveness with these kills. And I was talking about Poppy when I forgot that's Mundo jungle, honestly. That's a little confusing to me.
It's okay. It's confusing to us all. We're seeing... But this is what I love about these two teams. I mean, you can factor in also the Saints and the Wyverns in with these teams in this tournament is they never fail to entertain. I mean, sometimes they'll take these picks that you don't expect to work, like the Nautilus jungle, and they find a way to make it work. I mean, they're taking a pick like a Mundo jungle. We haven't seen this, but I believe if any team can make it work, it would be St.Olaf or the Fighting Saints. So seeing these types of teams play against each other is always a treat for me.
That is very true. And funny enough, we've seen that St.Olaf generally has a... Actually, I just realized Algric to me is finally not on a Hook champion.
Yeah, very true. And Marvel's Maven is picking up Morgana. So this will be his 5th game on that champion in the whole tournament.
Yeah, and not only that with the Morgana pick, but essentially this entire team composition is an exact copy of the previous match aside from the Ezreal and Illusionist. I wonder if they would have still locked in the Jhin had he been open. But it was a smart move by Swagenrock to lock it in instead because I feel like Jhin scales much better than Misfortune does, at least when it comes to the 2 crit builds that are now popular, since last week we saw people were still attempting to use those armor penetration builds and simply do not have the same impact as building high crits.
Yeah, I definitely agree that Jin's build has been changed significantly with this preseason patch. And I think that Illusionist had the right idea in what he was building on him last game. You mentioned that he didn't need the armor pen that early. I think that if he had gone for a crit build or a crit item instead of that, it would have been a perfect build. But I'm curious to see if Swagnarok picks up on that same thing. If he's going for the crit build, or maybe we're going to see a flashback to Tuesday where people just refused to adapt to where the meta's heading.
Well, he got a Lord Dominance Regard, which only affects bonus armor penetration, which that's why I said it was a little useless, because the only person with armor on the side of St.Olaf during that first game was the Flug on a Mumu. This time around, going for Lord Dominance Regard is going to be a little bit better because you have a Darius and a Mundo who both want to stack health and armor. So that's going to be much better for an early buy on, say, Illusionist. But I feel like it's going to be a very common blue build Ezreal with the Manamune into a Trinity Force, into a Blade of the Ruined King. Because Blade of the Ruined King is also going to be very good at spraying the health of these high health tanks.
Yeah, and I mean, specifically against a Mundo, maybe not even a Lord Dominix, maybe instead looking for more of those grievous wounds against Dr. Mundo, so he doesn't get all those heals back. And Darius as well. I mean, both of those are really good. I'm blanking on the name of the other build, not the Lord Dominix, but the
Mortal Reminder.
Mortal Reminder, yes. My job is being posted if anybody wants to take it from me. But Mortal Reminder with the grievous wounds being placed onto Mundo and Darius, it's going to be very good, I think, for Israel to pick up that item instead.
Yeah, that is actually a very fair point. You could also see an early Morellonomicon pickup by Exoviet here, which the only difference between Morellonomicon and Mortal Reminder is that Mortal Reminder is applied the moment you do any form of physical damage. However, the Grievous Wounds from Morellonomicon needs the person that you're hitting to be below 40% health, which having a Darius or a Mundo reach that threshold is going to be very difficult to do in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And we are 2 seconds into this game loading up here. For anybody joining the stream, we are finally done with this pick and ban phase, but not quite over yet, Fenris. Who do you think overall had the advantageous pick and ban?
Well, for the pick and ban, I'm going to be giving it over to St.Olaf this time around, just because I feel like the much heavier crowd control and straight up tanky teams is what's better this time around. And it looks like the spectate function of the League of Legends clients has kind of bugged out on us. And similar to what was happening with me on my own personal monitor last week, where it was freezing once Champion Select's finished, that's happened for both me, Steven, as well as our streamer, Mike. So we will not actually be able to be casting this game right here.
Well, let's give it a little bit. Maybe the new client is just glitching out a little bit. Keep in mind, all members of the casting team as of right now are on the new beta client, so we were forced to upgrade against our will. Come on, Rito, please. Give us something to work with.
It is a little sad to see that the expectation. One thing that could be potential for this is just resetting the clients. However, since the game is already underway and is under a tournament draft style, we cannot join the spectate if we are to attempt to leave it. So I feel like for this game, we may not be able to spectate this one. And we may end up just having to let the game play out and get a kind of word from the people post-game. However, we can just talk for a little bit about what we are thinking is going to be happening with this game, and then we'll come back with the results when they come up.
Yeah, and we will be posting updates from Mike as we get them, see if anything on his screen is changing. So hopefully we can at least get the stream up for all of you, even if we cannot see it on our end to cast it. That way, any curious viewers will at least be able to see what's going on. But one thing to notice here, which we failed to make mention of during the pick and ban phase, is Right Not a Faker opting to take Ghost on Darius instead of a teleport, which I think is by far the more popular option. We were mentioning how Right Not did not have TP last game, and that was a huge disadvantage when the St.Olaf, or the Fighting Saints rather, decided to build a double Zerat against them. So again, showing that weakness here.
Yeah, and I mean, you could argue against going teleport again if there was an idea that they wouldn't want to go to the double Zerat portal within this next game. However, they have literally the same exact team, aside from the AD carry, and the people that built those Zerat portals were the top in jungle, who are the same exact champions, will still scale really well off of the stats that Zerat portal offers. So it's not going to be like too uncommon if we were to see another doubles Z-Route portal within this game.
Yeah, so I definitely you got to think that Right Nut's plan is the same as the last time. He wanted to be able to take the aggressive summoner spell to get ahead in lane against Krell. Wanted to get an early kill maybe, try to snowball that lane. We already mentioned how Darius has a much better lane matchup against Poppy than Rumble would have, even though Rumble still technically had a very good lane matchup against that champion. And we saw him get a little bit ahead in the early game, where St.Olaf is typically better, but then fall off late. So I think that if Right Nut can secure those early kills, can get ahead early, then Ghost might be good for him because he'll just be able to rush down Poppy. But again, as long as the Fighting Saints are able to just extend the game long enough, if they still get those Zerath portals, they'll just be able to have so much more control over the map.
Yeah, and one thing to think about, though, is that Darius is a much better early aggression champion with the change to Fervor of Battle, because now Fervor Battle is no longer an on-hit effect. It is more a straight attack damage increase, which, as we mentioned back on Tuesday when this patch was first played on, that the change to Fervor makes it so much better for casters as opposed to auto-attack champions, which Darius is more of a caster. He has it where his ultimate, his E, and his Q all have attack damage ratios that rely heavily on whether or not he has high amounts of attack damage, and being able to get extra stacks of that early on is going to make him much more deadly.
Very true. And again, we're seeing, though, that I'm kind of beating a dead horse right now, but with a lack of TP, and we mentioned the same team comp basically from the Fighting Saints. So with that Rise, again, Exovia picking him up, going to have a lot more global pressure there. So while I do agree that Darius will have a very easy job in the early game, St.Olaf is going to have to play around it. They're absolutely going to have to get him ahead and then play around him, get that top turret, maybe even First Blood top turret, maybe even get Rift Herald for him. Absolutely put all their eggs in that basket, because if Right Nut falls off, they're going to just have no pressure.
And we did see that was a huge factor in the previous game when Right Nut Faker was starting to fall slightly behind, because Rumble does not scale nearly as heavily as Poppy does. Meanwhile, when it comes to team-fighting late game, Darius is a monster. You get that one good guillotine ultimate onto a person, kill them off, you just start to go crazy. We see that dunk after dunk can happen. And for the potential of this game, we can also look towards the mid lanes, just because of Cassiopeia being a much more DPS-type champion than Arya was that we saw in the previous match. Versing this Rise, who is also another DPS-type champion, will be a much more even matchup as the game goes on. And I feel like Cassiopeia actually scales a little bit harder than Rise, so the favor of mid lane is now in the side of St.Olaf the later the game goes, which makes it seem like they did think slightly towards the long run of the game in case it were to reach the late game side of things. But it still offers a potential for them to have that heavy snowball if Dr. Mundo gets ahead, if Darius gets ahead, and also if All Greek to me is somehow able to get ahead on the Zyra. We all know the Zyra is one of the highest damage dealing supports out there, and will offer an immense amount of damage potential whenever he decides to roam around.
And again, we're seeing a matchup that Zyra is not super comfortable against. I mean, Illusionist on Ezreal, Marvelous Maven on Morgana, the Black Shield, and the ability for Ezreal to just jump away from any kind of route. I would love to see Greek to me being able to make some of those roams in this game, especially going to mid lane. Exovia, if he has Ghost, has Flash, but even if Greek to me is just able to burn one of those summoner spells, that's an advantage to the Defiled. So I want to see Greek to me roaming in this game. I want to see the game, first of all, but unfortunately, it seems like we are not going to be able to load into this one. Potentially, we'll be able to get another Spectate client going up, but I do not know how the casting will be going for that one.
Yeah, the only issue is that the only way we get another Spectate would be to go through a third-party website, which would cause massive FPS issues, so it would not really work well for the streaming side of things. Not too sure if we want to call for doing that and deal with the low FPS, or if we're just going to take a bit of a break and give an update on how the game went once it's finished. Personally, I think I'm in favor of just letting the game go on and doing the update when it's done, because I don't think we could give any sort of quality casting if we cannot view it at a decent quality.
Yeah, so unfortunately, if any members of any viewers of the stream right now would like to see the game, you can always go to op.gg, check it out.
We will put the link over in the Twitch.
Yeah, but unfortunately, until then, we will be taking a short break from our stream here on Twitch, resting up our voices and getting ready for the third game. Best of luck to both teams playing right now. And sorry for the issues in the production side of things. Just difficulties with a new client.
Yeah.
And never fun.
When you're alone, life can be a little rough. It makes you feel like you're 3 foot tall. When it's just you, well, times can be tough. When there's no one there to catch your fall. 3 foot tall. Like you're 3 foot tall. 3 foot tall. When there's no one there to
Stressed out, waking up, it's time to get it. Ain't no room for the haters, ain't got time for jealousy. I'm too focused on the music, the money, and where I'm headed. If it rain on my parade, I'ma get an umbrella. Fuck all they damn opinions. Never really been the one to listen. Ain't no one else in the world on my vision. Still I want the distance and stay driven. Gotta go for it, do or die. Can't slow down, I feel too alive. I'ma chase my dreams, fuck the suicide. If you walked in my shoes, you would lose your mind. Got the blood of a champion in my veins. I ain't following nobody, I'm in my own lane. Live a day in my life, come and feel my pain. I'm balling out like LeBron and Dwayne in overtime. All my life, time to turn it up into overdrive. Gotta live your life with an open mind. Blood, sweat, tears got me so alive. Pull up with a bad one in a passer. Jerk side with an ass, got a fat one. Used to never get money, your hoes back then. Now I get both, but never will get a chance to. Wait to focus on the money, turn the vision to it. Embrace the struggle and you gonna get through it. Never give up, boy, you gotta keep moving. Don't worry about me and what I'm doing. If anyone listening got a dream, better go for it. If you think about giving up, better hold on. I've been on my grind, hustling for so long. Pull up, good vibes, someone roll one.
When you're alone, life can be a little rough. It makes you feel like you're 3 foot tall. When it's just you, well, times can be tough. When there's no one there to catch your fall. 3 foot tall. Like you're 3 foot tall. 3 foot tall.
Yeah. Waking up with the same routine, hoping and praying for sunshine. A plan that don't work out as A through Z. Looking at rappers, it's lunchtime. Sick of the drugs and the groupies. Hustling hard, boy, it's crunch time. Praying to God he don't lose me. Shout to my family one time. Putting my thoughts on a loose sleeve, on the Bruce Lee of this rap shit. Sometimes this life will get lonely and cold, so go make sure that you bring a jacket. Putting my heart and my soul in this music, I can't wait too far to turn back, bitch. People all told me that I wouldn't make it, now they the ones saying congrats, kid. Used to keep money that I made from hustling right there up under my mattress. Now I ain't tripping, don't worry about slipping, I got an account for that shit. Stood on my own 2 feet, nothing was handed to me. Every day I would practice, struggling every day, trying to find myself in this world that's full of madness. Stressed out, working hard, going through some shit, put my trust in God. Everybody telling me that I should stop, but my middle finger's up, screaming fuck them all. Every single day in my life I'm putting up a fight, trying to figure my rights from wrong. Hella shit on my mind, no time for the bullshit, boy, I gotta work hard.
When you're alone, life can be a little rough. It makes you feel like you're 3 foot tall. When it's just you, well, times can be tough. When there's no one there to catch your fall. 3 foot tall. Like you're 3 foot tall. 3 foot tall. Catch your fall. When you're alone, life can be a little rough. It makes you feel like you're 3 foot tall. When it's just you, well, times can be tough.
The night lay waste to all we'd given. But honestly, you've gotta know that this ain't living. But we could run from Elysium and let it burn, let it burn. You've gotta know that nothing lasts forever. I can't believe myself. I never thought that this would be our end, but it's nothing new. And my lover's honesty, I can push it back down if I have to. If you want me to, 'cause we can run. Stars they fall all for you. So tell me now, what's left to lose if we run?
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. Focusing to protect your soul.
Like a fire, it burns so bright. I was there and you were not. Like a spark, we were to ignite the night. Ask yourself, is it worth this fight? I love you so much sometimes. I feel like I couldn't breathe. When I look in your
Okay, we are going to be commentating again on this because Mike was able to get the
stream up on replay.
Oh, yep. All right, we were able to get the spectation going again. Thank you, Rito, for the amazing new clients working so beautifully. By the way, yes, that was sarcasm.
But thankfully we are right now, just in time to see that execution under tower. But we are seeing this is absolutely looking like St. Olaf's game right now. They are ahead by a good 14,000 gold. And they have 5 turrets, 2 dragons.
Look at the kill score right now of Swagnarok. He has 906 with 141 CS. He has equal CS as Illusionist, but the kill difference is immense, which overall makes it a 3,600 gold separation, which is an entire item.
Ooh, and Defiled actually juking the root from Marvel's Maven, but now the rest of the team is there to follow up. And an ultimate coming in from Ex-Soviet. Is he able to pick up anything up with it? That's 3 members behind Defiled who pops Ghost, trying to get away. Curtain called, actually not even in range to get him. Greek to me also doing a good job, but Krell is able to get on the backside. Defiled, who is still able to pick up a kill. That's just how fed he is right now. He might not even go down to Krell. He does go down to Ex-Soviet, however, but now Krell is caught out. Can Swagnarok get anything? Keeper's Verdict knocks him away. The Greek to me and Deflube are there onto Ex-Soviet. He gets rooted down from Jin's W, and he might be going down as well. He does. Greek to me picking up that kill. 2, 2, and 9 on this damage-heavy support right now.
Yeah, and we can see actually that right now the only real damage that can be offered is going to be from Ex-Soviets.
And Marvelous Maven getting caught out by Right Nut, finally getting back into this game. 2, 3, and 2. Krell is able to steadfast presence, get that movement speed bonus, run away a little bit. Deflube taking up turret while they clean it up. And this looks to be the first inhibitor going down for St. Olaf. They are absolutely in control of this game. Only 22 minutes in. This is exactly what we're talking about. They play fast and they get ahead early. This is absolutely following that same thought process, and it looks to me that they're going to rotate Baron.
Yeah, issue is though that there's no super minions that have spawned yet. In fact, when they killed the inhibitor, it was just after the wave of super minions had spawned. So that means that it's going to be another 30 seconds before any do appear and start rushing towards the enemy base. So, if anything, they should have had rid of Flube instead of trying to zone off people. Should have been helping attack that inhibitor to make it go down that much faster before the next minion wave would have spawned, which would have gotten them these super minions much sooner and allowed them to pressure Baron much more quickly.
Yeah, but now we're seeing that the Fighting Saints are not going to give up this dragon without a fight. They're looking to take it themselves. Keep in mind, they still have not lost a game when they have secured a dragon. So maybe they're saying, hey, look, it's a blessing. We can't lose if we get this, right? But they might not even be able to get there as the St. Olaf squad is on their backs. Krell's getting a lot of damage. Synos, he's so tanky, but he goes down as well. Greek to me picking up that kill also. You know, Marvelous Maven and Krell are so low, they're going to have to back off. The Red Plant actually saving Krell right there. And this is going to be a dragon for St. Olaf.
Yeah, this is going to allow the snowball to be even that much greater. That is now 3 dragons in total. The ones that they have all picked up is an Ocean Drake, a Mountain Drake, and an Infernal Drake, which we've said before. When we saw Cassiopeia last picked, a Mountain Drake out of Cassiopeia allows for an immensely fast Baron control.
Yeah, and we also mentioned how last game those Zerat portals were what kept the Fighting Saints in the game for so long. Well, they finally completed one out of Krell. They already had one on Synos. So if they are able to somehow get those in advantageous positions, bot and top are both pushed towards the side of St.Olaf. So that's really good for the Fighting Saints. As long as they can just push out this mid, they might be able to wait out the Baron long enough to make a comeback.
Yeah, and it looks like the bot tower is actually going to be going down potentially. It is getting quite low from all the minions there. However, the wave is starting to get pushed back naturally from the tower. It's only at half health, so it will not be going down.
And I'm actually a little confused by their choice to drop both Zerat portals in the mid lane. That's still not going to outpush the super minions, but it will allow them to be able to juggle it more.
The double Zerat portal actually does outpush super minions.
Does it?
It will keep it steadily around the middle of the lane. It won't let the wave push in towards St.Olaf, but it will keep the wave from entering.
Oh, Marvelous Maven actually getting caught out. The Black Shield does not save him from all of that damage, and he goes down immediately, getting caught out. This is not good for the Fighting Saints. This curtain call is pulled. This is what we were talking about. The Fighting Saints were able to do. Use it as an engage tool. Keeper's Verdict does not land onto anybody, and Krell is going down to the Defiled as the Floob just constantly pushing out bot. Illusionist has to flash away and heal. He goes down to right out of Faker. This has got to be the end of the game. St.Olaf has killed three members of the Fighting Saints. They have bottom pushed in.
The entire time the Floob was pushing in the wave bot, it was a 4v5, which was an immense play by him.
And going straight in onto Exovia. He's going to be going down as well, right out of Faker. He was 1 and 3 when we came into this game. Now 4 and 3. Absolutely showing why this champion was picked.
Yeah, and actually, if we're going to show why any champion should be picked or banned, it's going to be Jhin. We saw that last game in Game 1. Jhin was a crucial point to gain a lot of damage from extreme range. Meanwhile, this game, he was also doing the same exact thing.
And this is unfortunately just the Fighting Saints watching their base fall apart. They can't defend any of these turrets. They definitely cannot defend the Nexus. And this will be Game 2 going over to St.Olaf. We are now at a 1-1 tie in this series.
Yeah, which means that there's at least going to be 4 matches, potentially 5. We did say last week, or back on Tuesday, that this looks like it would be a best of, well, actually going to Game 5 series, just because the two teams are so close to each other. It will be quite interesting to see how well this will be going down.
Yeah, both of these teams very close, not only in the standings, but also in individual player rank and in individual champion pool. I mean, we see both top laners opting to take tanks. We see both the junglers opting to take tanks. The only big difference that we see is the mid lane pool and just the overall play style of some playing aggressively, the other team playing very passively, looking for the late game. So this is absolutely going to be a really fun match to watch going forward here. I think it could go to all 5 games, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. I really do think that could be going to all 5 games. It's going to be a bit back and forth. We did see that previous match, the side of the Fighting Saints did really well with that late game competition. They had a similar style this time, but we did mention that both Darius and Cassiopeia scale a lot better than they had the champions Rumble and Ahri in the previous matches. So I think that really helps them in that sense and allowed them to also have a very heavy snowball potential, because when you have champions that scale real heavily, if you get them to that late game scaling that much sooner, it is insane damage that they can deal.
Yeah, and what's interesting to note also is just that pick and ban phase. Going back, we had a lot of ideas of what St.Olaf should do to adjust to their previous bans, but they stuck with their guns. They said, no, we had good bans. We just did not have the right picks, and that was our issue. Let's go with the same bans, get better picks to better play to our strengths, and that's how we're going to get ahead. So I actually like that they were able to do that. They were able to recognize where they went wrong and adjust to that.
Yeah, and I feel like both teams still need to adjust their bans a little bit, just because I don't see the real use in going for such heavy assassin banning when both teams don't really seem to want to go for any assassin picks. So honestly, we see these teams still picking the very tanky top laners, very tanky junglers, and very mage-like mid laners. So, I mean, unless the assassins aren't banned, then they'll pick them up. I just don't see that happening because they seem to be very comfortable on these mages.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's something that potentially we saw with if the teams decided to scrim against each other. Watching past match history, I think, plays a big part into these smaller tournaments here is looking at each individual player, like the mid lane, say, hey, what have you been playing since the patch came out in Flex Q, in Team Ranked? And, potentially Exoviat playing a lot of LeBlanc. Maybe that's a champion that he's really picked up. So I'd like to think that each team has done this research, but maybe it could just be, again, that reaction to what we've seen being popular picks in the meta right now. But overall, we have about a 15-minute break until we're going to hop back onto the stream for the next game. Sorry that we were only able to catch the end of that last one with all those spectator difficulties, but we have reset our clients, and hopefully it will be fine going into this next game. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, if it doesn't work again, we'll have to use the op.gg link in order to make that work. Would you guys still have the link back in the chat? You just need to scroll up. The chat hasn't been going that crazy so far. It does seem like we have not too much of a viewer base. So if any of you do want to help us out and see how see those viewers numbers goes up, please send out the links for this stream. It is twitch.tv/MNLCS. Get that out to all of your friends, all of your family. I don't care who's watching or if they even like League of Legends. Just make them watch. Tie them down to a chair. Force their eyeballs open. Get them to enjoy this stream.
Yep. And until then, we will see you in a little bit.
In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you. In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
just want you. I just want you. The words I never said but wanted to. I'm losing you. I'm losing you. Oh, but these thoughts won't let you go. They keep running back to you. And I'm bleeding words. They escape me, the recall errors. And I can't look the other way. I'm chasing starlight to find a start away. Breathe it in. It's just now. We're just falling. And we won't always free fall back to nothing. 'Cause I'm just starting to learn. I've always been chasing.
All right, we're done.
And we are back into game 3 of our second match for the playoff series at Minnesota LCS. St.Olaf versus the Fighting Saints. It is a 1-1 tie right now, with the St.Olaf squad picking up the win in the last game.
Yeah, and this time we actually see the immediate Blitzcrank ban, making sure that will not be going over to all green to me. I'm curious if we'll see a lot of the assassin bans again. There's actually a Cassiopeia ban trying to take that away from Defiant, since that worked so well for the side of St. Olaf in the last game. However, it looks like they're still, or St. Olaf is still banning all assassins, which I still don't understand why. Those are mid-lane assassins. We see Exovia constantly playing these heavy wave clear mages and usually Rise. Why not just ban Rise?
Again, maybe they have information we don't have. Maybe they're just more afraid because they lost to Rise in the first game, but they knew how to deal with it in the second game. So maybe they're saying here, look, it doesn't matter if he picks up Rise because we know how to play around it. We're comfortable playing around it. And that is not the issue we need to deal with. Maybe their issue is those assassins. I absolutely love, I was just going to say, I think they should ban Jhin, because Jhin has been the first pick the past 2 games. It was a huge tool used by both teams in each of their victories. So I think the Jhin ban is super smart. It's probably going to mean Illusionist will have to be relegated back to that Ezreal that we've seen him play in the past. But that means Kha'Zix was not banned, and Synos picks up Kha'Zix.
Oh.
Maybe this is why we kept seeing that Kha'Zix ban against them. This is going to be interesting to see now what Synos is able to do with this champion here.
Yeah, usually we see Synos on those heavy tank champions. We saw double Nautilus pickup within the first 2 matches, but now he's actually on a very aggressive assassin. So it will be interesting to see that. But without the Jhin being picked up this game, I'm wondering what the AD carry roster is going to be like if we see an MF Ezreal, since those were the other ADC pickups, or if we will be seeing something else completely since Jin is no longer even on the table.
Well, I think a lot can be said for what each champion has played in the past. Illusionist also played a lot of Jinx back in the regular split. He opted for Ezreal in 4 of his past 5 games.
We have the Thresh lock in again for all Greek to me, so we know he's going to be going for that aggressive style as can be expected. I'm just curious if he's going to be picking up a Knight's Vow and a Mikhail's Crucible yet again, which, as mentioned back in Game 1, did not really complement his playstyle of this hyper-aggressive, constantly roaming champion.
Yeah, and Mundo also picked up for the Flube in the jungle. It was very successful for them in that last game, so they're probably trying to get another go at it, so to say. And we saw an Ashe hovered on the side of Fighting Saints. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. But now it's actually Orianna instead. I like ex-Soviet on that champion. I think it's lost a little popularity in the past couple of weeks because of the Assassin update, and we actually haven't even seen ex-Soviet on that champ.
We have Marvelous Maven locking in that Morgana yet again, though. It's been quite strong on him, and we did see some success in using the Black Shield, but then again, we also saw him using the Black Shield too often on the engaged champions rather than the backline, which was at a large threat in the last match. So let's see if he can adapt to that accordingly, or if he's still going to be using it on the people that are going for these heavy dives. We also do see the Mundo lock-in, so kind of curious if they're going to go for the heavy snowball style that they tried last game.
Ooh, Defiled picking up Victor. Now, this is actually a champion we've seen ex-Soviet play a lot of in the regular fall split. He played out of the 7 games, 6 of them were either picked or banned in those games. So definitely popular with ex-Soviet, but opted to not take it this game or the last games when it was up, and now Defiled saying, hey, I'll show you what a real Victor man looks like.
Yeah, that's very true, and Victor versus Orianna is actually a very even matchup. It's kind of skill dependent because both of them have very good wave clear. Victor a little bit better in the early parts of the game because all you need to have great wave clear on Victor is that first upgrade to your Death Ray. Meanwhile, Orianna needs to usually have a full item such as the Morel Namicon, which I'm guessing is going to be what they go for early on, especially since there is that Mundo in the jungle. Could be Mundo in the top lane still. There is no top laner picked, so
it could always be a flex. We've seen Right Nut be able to have success on those tanky top laners. Oh, and then Ivern.
Hover.
Could this be the legend? Oh,
the Teemo. Still a hover. Don't say anything until it's a lock-in.
Oh my god.
It's just trolling us. They are trolling us.
I want it so bad.
I know you want it. But
hey, you know, Teemo into Poppy, it's actually a pretty good matchup for the Teemo.
Except for the fact that most Poppy's damage is not coming from auto attacks.
Just the range. I mean, obviously a Gnar would be better, or even a Quinn if you're going to go for that hyper range top. But
Trundle.
It is a Trundle lock-in.
Trundle will actually be excellent right now because the only tank on the side of the Fighting Saints is going to be Krell on the Poppy, which, frankly, if you can absorb all the tank stats from a Poppy who naturally gets bonus resistances from the Steadfast Presence passive, Trundle's going to be massive when he uses Subjugate.
Yeah, and
unless if he uses them on target. There's always that. There
is always that option or possibility, but I like that pick. I think that this matchup specifically typically will go in the Trundle's favor, specifically because of that Subjugate. We've actually seen this matchup twice before in this tournament. Both times, if I remember correctly, it went in the Trundle's favor, and that team was able to get the victory. But we're noticing here, Fighting Saints, between games 1 and 2, they basically had the same teams minus 80 carry. They swapped out Jhin for Ezreal, but now they have completely different, except for, again, Krell with Poppy and Marvelous Maven with Morgana. So definitely going to see a very different style of play, I think, come out of here from Fighting Saints, at least when it comes to the laning phase. But we do see Illusionist on Jinx, who is, again, that hyper late game carry. So we'll probably see, again, them looking for that more late game build focus.
I feel like there's going to be much more of a mid-game type of matchup between the two teams because both of them have their huge power spikes come around the mid-game stages, especially in the mid lane, because Orianna and Victor both have their biggest power spike around the 2 to 3 item mark. Kha'Zix, he's kind of like right now in the current patch, he is known as one of those overpowered champions that should consistently get banned just because he has extremely high strength throughout all stages of the game, as long as he can isolate a target. So that's really the only condition, and he can usually kill whoever he wants. And then once he gets ahead is when he can start joining for team fights and kill multiple people at once. The issue is I feel like in this kind of competitive scene where we have people communicating, it will be less likely that we see someone split pushing unless if it's, say, right now to Faker on Trundle or Defloob on Mundo, who I don't think either of those two people will be able to get easily 1v1 by Synos unless if he is that far ahead, which would mostly come from trying to gank the bot lane, in my opinion.
This is actually, keep in mind, the first time we've seen Right Nut take teleport. So even though last game Krell and Synos opted for that same double Zerat build, they got it a little too late. It would have worked potentially if they were not so far behind, but by the time they got, they had already lost that middle inhib. So they're opting to say, hey, look, we're not going to go for that same kind of build. I would assume maybe Krell still completes it, but if they do, Right Nut has the answer. He can go deal with the portal in lane, teleport back to the team fight if he needs to. So I definitely think that this is a much more advantageous match for the St.Olaf squad here. And I'm going to give it to them overall with a better pick and ban phase. I think that their bottom lane is very strong. We're see yet again the Thresh into Marvelous Maven's Morgana, just like that game one where they had the loss. Zyra was able to pick up the win last game. But I think if Greek to me is able to recognize what didn't work in that game one, he's going to have a much better game here if he focuses more on the roams and less on sticking by his AD carry and protecting them.
And especially with how Ragnarok is now on a Caitlyn who can easily farm in a 1v2 situation, it's going to be much easier for all Greek to me to have the opportunities to roam. Also, with the mid laner being an Orianna who has a lot less defensive capabilities than a Ryze, which we usually saw Sylvia in the last two games, it'll be much easier to roam towards mid as well as going with the Defloob into the enemy jungle, trying to catch out Synos on Kha'Zix, who will be an easier pickup since he will not be nearly as tanky as Nautilus.
Yeah, they just need to make sure that they can keep vision on Synos, because if they don't know where he is, it's going to be very dangerous for Swagnarok to be in that 1v2 lane on the bottom. Synos can maybe even come from the backside, jump over the wall, dive them under turret. And if they're able to coordinate well enough, that could be a deletion on the Swagnarok. So as long as they can keep vision on Synos, I think that this is absolutely St.Olaf's game.
Yes, and we actually do have the fixed solution for this pick.
We did it!
You reset the client after every time you spec it. That's what you have to do. So there will be a bit of a longer break in between matches just because we will have to take the time to reset our clients every single time. But at least we now know the fix, and we don't have to rely on third-party sources in order to get our good matches spectated. And now, going into this game, I have to say I think the key to victory for the Fighting Saints is going to be early game vision control for purely one reason. Yes, I know you're looking at this.
Swagnarok does not have a skin. Oh, I gave it to St.Olaf, and they didn't take the skin.
Hey, I
Feels
prefer
bad,
the
man.
foreskin.
What?
I prefer the foreskin.
You
Okay? Yes, I did have to say that.
Everybody write that down in the Twitch chat. Donovan, it has been confirmed. Madcast Banners prefers foreskin.
Oh, God. Let's not. But as I was saying, though, the key to victory for the Fighting Saints this time around is going to be vision in the early game, because the thing that has been shown as a sign for what lets one team win or lose is these early game focuses and whether or not Fighting Saints can last until the late game. Because whenever they can successfully last until the late game, they have been shown to be able to dominate. But the moment St.Olaf gets any bit of an early game lead, that's when they start to get ahead and can easily take the game in their own hands and say, we are going to win this. If you get early vision to see where Thresh is wanting to roam, where this Mundo is wanting to go to, there is a lot higher chance that you'll be able to survive into the later parts of the game.
I definitely think that this is going to be a huge test of patience. This is a 1-1, so it's not too big of a stressful game, because even if whichever team loses, they still have a chance to come back and win the overall match. But I think it's definitely going to be a test of patience for who's willing to go in for the long haul, because if St.Olaf plays super aggressively and falls behind, does that mean that they're going to have to adjust their play style for the next game? Because that's going to be twice now that it has not worked out for them. And it's actually an invade from both teams to both sides of the jungle.
Just double invade. At this point, I feel like they should just take each other's red buffs.
I like it.
See that Synos is actually staying, though.
Yeah, I do like that they're opting to try to take that top buff. I mean,
the issue is, though,
they assume that Defloob is going to go for blue, which actually I would assume he would start on the red side, So that is interesting that they are stayed. I think it's...
Issue is, though, is that right now Faker is going to be passing right by that red buff, and he may get caught out. Let's kind of see what happens.
It could be. I think they might be a little distracted, however, trying to get that red buff. They
Oh,
see
he was
him,
spotted.
and he sees them as well. He might actually be able to stop them from securing red buff, but no,
he
he's
goes back to
actually
lane.
backing off. He does not want to risk his life.
Now, here's the thing, though. Krell is most likely going to be missing a few CS once he gets back to lane, unless if you can hurry back. He barely gets back for the experience. Okay. So, if the melee minions had died before Krell got back to lane, that would have been a massive advantage over to right now Faker, because it would be hitting level 2 much sooner, and would arguably be able to force Krell away with the level 2 advantage that he would have.
Yeah, and we're seeing here Deflu making the very safe move. He knows that his red buff was taken, so he immediately counters and goes in to Synos the jungle to get his red buff. So just not really a steal, since it's just stolen right back. But a level 2 advantage early on the bot lane. Marvelous Maven gets ignited on, but is able to get away with no summoner spells. Rather, he did have to flash away. So that is an advantageous trade for the side of St.Olaf. Good pick there. They got level 2, and they immediately put pressure on.
Yeah, and right now...
Ooh, and the flash in with the flame, with the hook. Heal and flash go out. That's a 1-for-2 summoner trade. Really aggressive play by all Greek to me, but paid off huge.
Yeah, that was actually very good, because now that means that the Fluke could easily go for a dive in the bottom lane.
Could be. And I like that's double flashes down actually on the bot side, because Marvelous Maven does not have his as well. So that's only exhaust available to them, where Swagnarok still has his heal and flash. So I think if this hook lands, this Illusions has got to be going down. Black Shield is there, but do they have the damage? First blood to all Greek to me on Thresh, the hook god himself. Says this is why, man, maybe you gotta start banding up Blitz and Thresh against him. Ooh,
Manny's back there. You're getting it pretty well.
Almost going down to Raptors, but yeah, he's going for Krugs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he could try. If he ends up dying, it's going to be quite funny to watch, but...
Let's check it out. Let's check it out. He's able to get big. The smite gives him that health. He's not going down.
Okay. That's at least good to see that the team knows how to jungle with Mundo and not die in the process. That was
it's
a little
calculated.
funny.
Calculated, you know?
You do see that Marvelous Maven was trying to go a little bit
Synos
of R3 in the bot lane.
Is bot side, but Greek to me still has
And Illusionist is nowhere nearby to join up in that gang, so it was a little risky.
Yeah, plus Greek to me with the lantern, with all of his summoner spells, or not summoner spells available, right?
Ooh,
Just regular
Krell.
spells. Right now, the Faker actually taking a lot of damage from Krell. He might have to flash away. Does have it available to him. Krell takes 1-2 turret shots.
Ooh, not in his favor, because...
And now Deflube's on the
lane.
backside. Can Krell get away? He has his flash available. Actually going in on right now to Faker. Right now Faker goes in. Deflube taking a lot of damage. Krell might even get a 1-for-2. He gets a double kill on the top side.
Deflube horribly misplaying that by standing right in the middle of the minions. He had the right idea going for the flank, but he should have had to force Krell to go away from his own minions and go out of the safety area. Instead, he just sat in the middle there, took way too much damage.
Yeah, very, very rough plays here from the side of St.Olaf. It was going really well for them on the bot side. They're picking up that first blood, but now gifting over to literally gifting 2 kills over to Krell is going to be really rough for now. Right now to Faker. He's already behind CS, having to TP back into the top lane, plus with no flash available to him. Krell.
You see Krell following his teleport, though. And
yes, and now Greek to me is roaming mid. He does not have flash available to him, and unfortunately, Exoviet had that minion wave at just the right time.
Yeah, and Exoviet does still have both the summoners. However, he is out of mana, so he will have to back. My guess is he'll be picking up the Lost Chapter early on so that he can have extra mana sustain, which, yes, we do see him pick that up, as well as a refillable potion and a control ward. Which, one thing to note is that now control wards will no longer be able to stop.
Ooh, Swagnarok actually getting bounded and the traps, but that lantern gets him to safety. A heal was burned in the process, however. And right now to Faker, Krell actually exchanging blows. Keeper's Verdict knocks him up. Can he get the damage? He gets the kill. That's another kill onto Krell solo this time.
The one thing we can actually see is that Krell's put the phase, which signifies that he's going to be going for a Black Cleaver. a much more damage-focused build, which is not scaled too well for Poppy as compared to a full tank build, which does give a little bit of a hint that they're trying to kind of make up for their lack of early game potential by going for slightly more damage-focused champions that scale into the mid-game. And it looks like they're actually...
And now Cynos and Deflube meeting each other on the bottom side. Doesn't look like either one really wants to commit to a fight.
Yeah.
And here we're talking about how you're mentioning that the damage build on Poppy does not scale as well, but we also mentioned earlier how Poppy was the only tank on the side of the Fighting Saints for Right Now the Faker to be able to subjugate and get all those stats. So perhaps this is the answer. They're saying, hey, in lane, we're going to give Poppy the Black Cleaver, and then maybe once we get into the team fights, we'll give him some tankier stats. But for now, let's just get him the damage. But Soviet getting caught up by Defiled and Deflube trying to get a catch onto Defiled, but did not see Deflube coming in from the backside. And he goes down in the 2v1 mid lane. But now Krell going back into Right Now the Faker. He is giving him no quarter. No, he was ready this time Flash. And the hug from Greek to me, but a simple Black Shield.
You have to recognize that the Black Shield is always there as a possibility. If you're going to go for a flash play with Resh, when there's a Morgana nearby, you have to bait out the Black Shield first, which is usually best by simply walking up using your play, because that makes the Morgana think they're going to go for something aggressive, and will throw the Black Shield preemptively, which then you just back away and say, the moment it's down, I'll just go back in.
Sometimes even a simple auto attack can be enough to trick the enemy support into thinking you're winding up the hook. Sometimes. Not often, but every now and then you get something silly like that. Ooh, the Black Hook onto the wrong member. Illusions might be going down. That's one hit, two hit. Oh, flashing away from turret because of exhaust onto Swagnarok. Might not have needed to burn that, but now Krell again on the right on the Faker. Can he get the kill? He's actually trapped between the turret and the cone. That was actually well played by Right Now a Faker right there, but he is still so low and damaging Krell, but the turret is able to help him out, and he gets a shutdown kill onto Krell, answering, hey, you're getting a little too cocky there, friend.
Yeah, funny enough, the last bit of damage that Krell had dealt to him was while Corrupting Potion was active, which is a damage over time effect that will still trigger tower. So he kind of walks back into tower range forgetting, oh yeah, I have that dots on him.
Yeah, and now Deflube, we're seeing him with a slight jungle lead just for farm. He also has picked up one assist for him, but not a lot has happened with these junglers. We are expecting, I think, a lot more, especially from Cynos, but he is maybe fulfilling that here. Defiled, flashing away, does not have ghosts available to him, but Ex-Soviet flashes in to try to get the damage and has nothing to follow up.
Actually, that was a double flash for one, with Defiled not getting affected at all by that. It was a very kind of aggressive attempt from the side of the Fighting Saints, but...
Ooh, and now Cynos jumping in onto Defiled. Ultimate goes down. Can he pick up a kill to... Unfortunately, did not have it there.
Did he forget that Cynos was just mid?
I think he assumed he would have got straight into his own jungle, given up on that mid lane, but Cynos, nope, says, you know, let's just trick him a little more, stick around slightly longer than he's expecting.
Yeah, but they did see that Cynos went over in the topside jungle, which means that this is a free opportunity for Dragon. However, there was a ward.
Marvelous Maven and Illusionist are here, along with Ex-Soviet. Deflube and Greek to me are caught out. Deflube's just hoping to maybe still get this Dragon, but goes down to Soviet. And the Fighting Saints are looking to run away with this game as Greek to me barely escapes on the bot lane. Swagnarok might be a little far forward. Can't really do much to get that Dragon, and that is a Dragon going over, Infernal Drake going over to the side of the Fighting Saints.
Yeah, which, funny enough, guess who had control boards in their inventory but did not think to place it down in the Dragon Pit? Literally everyone.
And unfortunately, Krell might have bit off a little more than can chew again as Right Now the Faker engages onto him, or Krell rather engaged onto Right Now, but Right Now answering. He has the lifesteal, he has Subjugate. Krell might not actually be able to 1v1 Right Now the Faker anymore.
I think the bigger factor in this now is the fact that he has the Vampiric Scepter, which is just that much more sustained.
Yeah, that lifesteal is absolutely coming through for Right Now here. He can stay in lane so much longer and keep engaging onto Krell, and Krell can't really do much about this.
Yeah.
Not only is Right Nut going to be picking up all of this farm with the Tiamat, but he's also going to be life-stealing constantly. So it's going to be difficult for Krell to be able to handle this wave clear. But now Swagnarok actually might be getting caught out here as well. Does he take the Lantern? He, barely gets it. Illusion is flashing in. barely has enough mana, but he does not have a Super Mega Death Rocket, and he does not get the juke. Swagnerak goes down, but unfortunately, Illusionist takes a tower hit, but Golgari to me might be going down as well. He does not have any summoner spells available to him. He dies. Defiled trying to get damage onto Krell. Can he get it with the ultimate? He goes down in the top lane, and Defiled Ghost actually through the turret to escape from Sinos. This is 3 members top. Can Sinos get right on a figure? He does pick up the kill, but he might be going down in the process. That's another kill over on to Defiled, but Sinos picks up 2 with the help of the turret.
Unofficial ace. All that we need is see in Soviet get the kill off, which...
Oh, he doesn't see Defiled there. He ghosts in. Can Defiled get the return damage? Oh, this is actually so close with the minions helping him out. The ultimate misses from Hex Soviet. Can Defiled get his cooldowns? He does not have a lot of mana up. And a TV coming in. Oh my goodness. All Soviet has to do is stop the back, but can Defiled get the kill? He does not. Oh. That was a very close
and another
fight
12
there.
right now to figure already. Something is going to be backed up.
Can he get the damage onto Krell? But Krell is returning to Keeper's verdict is not up. Greek to me is here. Krell is in danger, and Right Nut picks up that kill. This is so much action in this early game. Oh my God, Right Nut coming back into this game despite being so far behind there.
Yeah.
We saw him having a 20 CS disadvantage. We saw him having 2 deaths to Krell, and Krell having 3 kills. But Right Nut coming back big into this game here.
This is a clown fiesta if I've ever seen one, to be honest. There are just kills going everywhere, and somehow, despite being behind 4 kills, we can see that St.Olaf is still ahead in gold by only about 600. But that's mostly going to be because the 40 farm difference between Signal...
Ooh, and a flash in with the hook, with the play on a Maven. Can they get the damage, though? Illusionist and Maven are just going back in on Swagnerak. That is a lot of summoner spells burned. Heal is not available for either AD carry, and the hook misses. That could have been the difference there if Greek to me had landed that. Unfortunately not, but again, exhaust blown from Marvelous Maven, flash blown from Greek to me and Swagnerak. So in the end, just summoner spell advantage to the Fighting Saints.
Yeah, I can say with full confidence that Right Now Faker should have complete control over this top lane now, since he does have the Ravenous Hydra completed, which is going to increase his wave clear, which also Trundle's passive. In case
the Flube is on the bot lane. The Lantern is in, and the Flube just gets pulled onto a trap. But Illusion is actually taking some poke damage from Swagnerak.
Alright. As I was saying, for anyone that doesn't know, Trundle's passive is that whenever a nearby minion dies, a portion of that minion's health will actually heal Trundle, which means that the more wave clear you have as Trundle, the more sustain you have. It's indirect, but it's kind of doubled down by having the Ravenous Hydra, which already has lifesteal on it, as well as better wave clear.
Yeah, now we're seeing Krell have to deal with all of this sustain here as he's trying to damage up Right Nut, but he just cannot get sustained damage on him. And Krell actually is able to heroic charge into Right Nut's own cone, but Keeper's Verdict not enough to keep him off of him. Right Nut's just going right back in, and Swagnerak again getting caught out. Krell almost dying on the top side. That is the 3rd time we've seen Swagnerak get hit by the binding and then hit by the traps, and Greek to me just having to lantern him out of there. Swagnerak just constantly getting damage.
Right Out of Faker.
Right Out of Faker's trying to get onto Krell. He's waiting for that shield to go down, but heroic charge into the wall. Is it enough? He's able to get the bite. He gets the kill, and he escapes from the turret. And again, this is just Right Out of Faker just saying, it doesn't matter how big of a lead you had. I'm a Trundle, and you're Poppy. You're going down, but now the mid laners are blowing ultimates onto each other. Can Defiled get it onto Soviet? Flash away, flash in from Defiled, but the turrets are taking him down. He goes down to the turrets. And Soviet gets the kill.
Soviet was at 5 HP.
Defiled take a shot from each turret there.
That must feel horrible to see the 5 health Onyx Soviets. Just gotta think, maybe if you went AD.
It's always the issue when you were trying to calculate how much damage you have, but you're never quite sure. But here we're seeing again, bringing it back to that CS differential. I mean, Defiled still has a good 17 CS up on Exoviet, and this bot lane is just huge. 5 CS advantage going to Swagnerak. Yeah, he's behind 2 kills, but I mean, in the end, that's
I think it means
not
50
going to
CS.
50 CS.
You said 5.
5. Yeah, you 5.
Nothing.
50. It's
Slight difference.
it's all the same, right?
It's just a small difference. But now we can see that it looks like all Greek to me. is going for either a banner of command or a lock of the Ancillary. I feel like a lock is going to be much better in this case since you would be able to mitigate a lot of that area of effect damage as opposed to just making a slightly better split with potential for your Trundle. I mean, honestly, if I were playing right now, I would be going for a double stack, but I think rushing the face of the mountain would be a little bit better because you need health right now as a Thresh. Yes, you get the mixed resistances, but health is overall more effective in the early game.
And he's able to land the hook. And the Black Shield has not gone down yet. That's a kill over to Swagnarok. No Black Shield in response from Maven. Illusionist has both summoner spells available, though. I expect him to get away. And the hook misses, unfortunately.
And an easy kill.
Ooh, and now Cynos is there to jump onto Swagnarok. The Flube, can he answer? Can Swagnarok get away? Illusion picks up the kill, but Cynos jumps back in. He should have jumped away. Illusions might be able to get one on the Greek to me, however, but he goes down in the process, and Greek to me survives. That's a double kill onto the Flube, who is starved for kills, actually.
Exophia refined in the mid lane. They are both really low, and Exophia is going to have to run off. But it looks like the Flube may try to find him. No, it looks like they're going to go for these towers instead. A very good change of focus, saying, not going to chase for that kill. I'm just going to get this tower back off. However, Krell meets up in mid lane to stop that tower from going down. And now there may be a potential 4-man shove within this mid lane to try and take that tower.
Yeah, and we were just seeing how being 4 kills behind, St.Olaf was still ahead in gold. Well, now they're only 2 kills behind. They have 2 turrets. They're 5K ahead, or 4.5K rather, ahead in gold. So absolutely comfortable lead in this game right now. And this is what we see they play best with when they get these early leads. It's 18 minutes in. Having a 5K gold advantage is very big for this team specifically. I'm excited to see what they're able to do with it. Maybe get Rift Herald on the right, not a Faker, just so he can even more bully out Krell. Or potentially just try to win a team fight and then take that mid inhib.
Yeah, right now this early lead, as mentioned before, St.Olaf is known as the team to have very good early game advantages, as well as being able to close out the game whenever they can get an early lead. So right now this is showing us a game very heavily in their favor. And before we saw, when they were able to get to Flube ahead, he did pretty well. Last game, we saw right now the Faker was going kind of behind in the early parts, but was able to come back in the end. This time he's actually ahead already, and he has free reign over this top lane, being the Trundle versus Poppy matchup. So things can only really get better for him, unless if he starts to fail in the grouped up stages of the game, which we have seen before. The Fighting Saints do well when they do the full 5-on-5 team fights. That's usually once everyone starts having full items.
Yeah, and we have seen St.Olaf much better at landing those picks, getting Greek to me to roam mid, roam top, set up these 2v1 picks or these 3v2 picks, which we have not seen much of this game. He's opting instead to just protect Swagnarok, just keep him alive, stay around the bot lane with him. Now they're roaming together as a group mid, and Cynos getting caught out by right, not a Faker, actually might be going down here. Takes a lot of punishment, not expecting the Trundle to have that much damage. And Illusionist actually might be going down to the Defiled. Does the ultimate get him? But he gets knocked into the wall by Heroic Charge, and Krell actually is the one to pick up the kill as Illusionist escapes with a flash.
Yeah, that actually...
Lot of action happening there around the mid lane.
Yeah, not too sure exactly what the aim for that play was. It seemed like it was a good opportunity that St.Olaf wanted to try and take, but they just played it a little too aggressively, even for their own likings. Just because they're constantly forgetting that this Morgana has Black Shield available to throw onto people, which stops the pick potential of this team. Since all of their pick potential is usually in single target crowd control, they need something that's more air of effect in order to guarantee.
Ooh, and the flash missing the hook, and now he might be going down to Cynos. Immediately jumps in. Soviet has his ultimate available. Does he use it? He does not, but Cynos actually goes down in the process. It's a 1-for-1 trade. The Flube so tanky, absolutely comfortable under turret.
That is support coming from Krell. Right now, Faker does have his support up as well, could follow up, but it looks like instead he wants to keep shoving up this top lane and go for the tower.
Yeah, this is all members of each team grouped mid except for Right Nut. He's instead saying, look, they're pushing to their mid turret. I'm just going to push this top turret, at very least in items from above.
Yeah, and right now we do see that right now Faker holding onto his support. Does have the minion wave up to the top tower. Krell is there to meet it, but most of the minions have already gone down, so he will not be catching any gold experience there. Overall, a bit of a wasted effort coming over because you should have expected that just simply leaving mid lane will have put some pressure into Right Now Faker saying, I need to back off. And he could have stayed closer to where the minions were to gather a little more experience. He is now a full level behind, which at this stage of the game, 1 level isn't too much. The biggest area where we can see some difference is going to be Augury to me, who is level 9 still, while everyone else is at least double digits in level. Okay, now he's level 10.
Ooh, and Greet to me again, trying to make these hooks happen, trying to land onto these individual members of the team, but he just cannot quite get there. Deflube actually getting caught out by Cynos and Marvel's Maven. He has his ultimate, has to flash away though. He cannot sustain all this damage. Actually tries to go back in a little bit, but is backing off now, as we see also Exoviet was there to answer in the mid lane.
Yeah, and frankly, right now Deflube does not have enough armor to deal with Cynos.
Ooh, and Krell actually might be going down here to Right Now the Faker, at least getting pushed off of the wave. And we see again that shield that he gets with his passive is not as much as Right Nut's sustained with Ravenous Hydra with his passive.
And not even that, right now we see that Krell hasn't built nearly that much resistances. He has mostly health and attack damage items, which, yes, the attack damage is better to build against someone who can take away your tankiness, but you still need tankiness as a Poppy. You're not going to be useful unless if you're tanky.
Yeah, now Krell actually trying to get damage on him while he's undershirt. Flash away from Swagnarok and Defiled, as well as Ghost. So that's one show of Marvel's Maven in the mid lane. Got 3 summoner spells from the side of St.Olaf. They were very afraid.
That was from Exodia trying to use the Shockwave there.
Oh, okay. Rather that then. I missed that. Deflube actually getting caught out now. He's got to run away. Does not have... Or he does have his ultimate, rather. He just popped it. Can he get the distance between him and Cynos, who flashed in aggressively? It's so hard to chase down a Mundo with his ultimate available, though. So that's another burn summoner spell. These players are burning through them like they're water. And a great ultimate from Defiled coming in. Does Ace in the Hole land? It does. Illusionist goes down to Swagnarok and Defiled to Wombo combo there in the mid lane. Now, Right Now the Faker going on to Krell. Heroic charge connects into the wall. Keeper's Verdict winds up just enough to knock him away. And another missed hook from Greek to me.
Yeah, he is trying to play at the furthest range possible with these hooks to make it so it's a little less predictable when he wants to throw out, which is a decent idea from Thrush players. However, it's also the riskiest because when you miss your hook, it is on a much
and Right Nut actually trying to tank up all that turret. Gets it down, and it doesn't actually have to deal with all that much health lost.
Yeah, right now they are 4 turrets ahead. There are 0 turrets inside of the Fighting Saints. However, the Fighting Saints do have complete dragon control right now. Those dragons, again, being a Mountain and an Infernal. So when it comes to future objective control, they should have a slight advantage when they go for them. However, the amounts that the St.Olaf squad is ahead should make it very difficult for them to go for any objectives in the first place. Because right now we can see they should have full control over this Cloud Dragon, which, frankly...
Keep in mind, Swagnarok and Defiled are mid lane. They're coming down to the Dragon Pit now. So it does seem... Ooh, the hook! He goes over, but there's a black shield. He gets deleted immediately, which means that this dragon could be contested. The Super Mega Death Rocket does not steal the dragon, and instead that is first dragon over to St.Olaf for the game.
Yeah, and we see that Right Now Faker is actually flanking onto Krell, trying to go very aggressive. He does have Subjugate up.
And keep in mind, Krell has a full damage build. He has Titanic Hydra and Black Cleaver with no armor stats, not even boots. So Right Nut has his way with Krell right now, but he has no magic resist, or not enough, and Krell does pick up a kill with the help of Exoviet.
Right Now Faker actually used Subjugate way too early. He should have saved it until you...
Oh, and Swagnarok getting deleted under turret to the chain CC again. That must be the 5th time I've seen Marvel's Maven land the binding, with Illusionist immediately following up with those traps. That must be so frustrating, but Cynos might be getting caught out now by Deflube, who is able to pick up the kill with that headbutt.
There's the Ghost by Defiled, so he will be able to...
And he is ulting in, trying to get onto Marvel's Maven. They pick up another kill. Defiled, can they pick up Illusionist? He has Flash available, flashes away. Ace in the Hole, doesn't quite get it, and now those traps just barely defending him. But this turret looks like it's got to be going down here very soon as this wave lines up. But then again, Krell on the top side pushing in that wave with a TP answered from
Right Now. Is going to be joining him, though.
So now we're seeing St.Olaf getting this turret again.
They rotate bot. There's actually a wave blowing up down there.
Yeah, they're 4 turrets ahead. Still with a 5k gold lead, the Fighting Saints have done a good job of mitigating this bleeding here, not letting it get out of hand, but they have not been able to come back, unfortunately, and they're just losing all these objectives.
Yeah, however, we do know, though, is that the moment the Fighting Saints start to catch up in items is the moment that they can easily take control of the game, which St.Olaf needs to look to be ending this game real soon before the side of the Fighting Saints have a chance to come back, especially since they have a Jinx, they have an
Ooh, and Great to Me getting caught out, has to flay to get them away. Deflube is there, but that's not enough backup. Now Deflube's getting caught out a little bit, has to flash away. He does have his ultimate available, pops it, but a little too late, and that is 2 deaths on the side of St.Olaf. This is exactly what we're saying they didn't want to do. You're just mentioning how we're already past that point of their average win time. They got to be looking to close this out soon. Otherwise, they're going to really be struggling against the Fighting Saints, who are very comfortable playing in the late game.
Yeah, and with that, we also
but Marvelous Maven getting cut out. Oh my god! Instantly deleted by the Defile. Didn't even get a chance to pop that Zhonya's.
Yeah, you never really want to get too close to a victor once he has 2 complete items, especially when that second complete item is the Rabadon's Death Cap, which is the game. A little questionable because it's not too gold efficient to get it so early on, but it still is a bit of a power spike for him.
Absolutely, and that just means that every other item he gets from this point on will just be that much stronger because of that percent AP increase.
I think I would have much rather seen a Rylai's Crystal Scepter, though, just because that would make his survivability that much higher, as well as give him a lot more utility.
Yes, I definitely agree that it's a questionable build, but I still see what they're trying to do with it, and I respect that. Just give him as much power as possible right now at this moment. Give him all that AP, because he's the one putting out a lot of damage in these fights. I mean, we saw him absolutely delete Marvelous Maven, and unfortunately, Swagnarok has been struggling with his position, getting caught out a lot, but now it's all Greek to Me getting caught out, and he gets deleted by Illusionist. Swagnarok and Defiled have to run away. Maybe they want that Rylai's now, but instead they turn onto Illusionist, who actually gets bursted down, has to heal to survive. Victor's ultimate.
Deflube and Right Now Faker are pushing down the bot lane.
Rather Deflube on the top side with Right Out of Faker on the bot side, playing the 1v1 against Krell. And now Deflube again pushing into this top turret. He has a small wave with him.
Pincered. Marvelous Maven is coming from the right with Exovian.
He has ultimate available. He might be able to escape this. Marvelous Maven cannot land the binding. And Deflube actually opting to get some more damage on the Maven.
Trying to throw them clean to make them land. However, they're just not connecting too well. This entire time, Right Now Faker is still pushing down the bot lane. He does not have Subjugate up, so he should not be trying to go for any real aggressive plays just yet. And the moment that he gets the Spirit Visage complete is when it's going to be a massive item spike for him, just because he will have that much more healing from every source.
This is going to be really interesting to see what St.Olaf is able to do here, because we're approaching the 30-minute mark. I don't believe they've won a single game past the 30-minute mark, so this is going to be make or break for them at this moment, as Krell is doing his best to keep Right Out of Faker from being able to get away from his own turret, but he's low on mana. He might still be able to get the damage, but Subjugate comes down onto Krell. Can he heroic charge him into his own pillar? He might not be able to, as Right Nut and Greek to Me are going in onto Krell, ace in the hole. He's pincered out. He goes down to Swagnarok, actually, but this means that Silence and Illusionist know that Deflube is alone on the top side. They might be able to get him. He is able to pop his ultimate. He's so fast. Actually turns back onto Silence. Can he get the damage? Maybe not, but Greek to Me with Swagnarok, Right Nut, and Defiled pick up that bottom turret while Deflube is still safe on the top side. So overall, it's a free kill and a free turret over to the side of St.Olaf. They're really in a make-or-break position right now. They have to keep this momentum going forward.
Yeah, this momentum is what's been carrying them throughout this game. They're now starting to make it where they are bringing this game back to the way that we saw with game number 1. The time is now 30 minutes into the match, which is around their realm of control. But surprisingly, we see them on...
And Deflube getting caught out. He does not have his ultimate available anymore. Exovian and Cynos are there with all of the damage from their team, and he goes down. This could be a Baron play even, if they're able to push out maybe some more of these lanes here. It looks like they might not have the time to do that, though.
Yeah, not really having that much time, which, as I was going to try and say, the team comps in comparison do have it where the Fighting Saints have a much harder scaling composition. So they're just getting closer and closer into this realm of we have control. Although there are still some questionable item choices specifically from Krell, he is still refusing to get any form of resistance items. And actually built an Executioner's Calling to try and mitigate some of the sustain from right now to Faker and possibly the Blue Fang he has to try and stop. I just think it's not necessary if you force full grouped up fighting, in which the Mortal Reminder from Illusionist will do that job for you.
Yeah, and we already saw that Krell, despite all this damage he's built, has not been able to 1v1 right now to Faker on the bottom side. It looked like it was going his way there for a little bit, but even if Right Nut had not gotten Greek to me and Swagnarok to help him out on the bot side, he still might have been able to pick up a kill or at least bullied Krell away from the lane. So this damage build is not going super well in Krell's favor, but he is actually able to pick up the Warmog's armor, which is not a common item you'll see built on Poppy.
Funny enough, you know what one of the best stats to build against Trundle is?
Warmog?
Magic resist. You know why? His whole stealing your life and stealing your resistances comes as magic damage. So if you have magic resist in the first place, you'll steal less. Building more health does not stop his damage because his damage is percentage health.
Yeah, but now he is actually getting caught out in a 1v3. He's way too far forward. His team is on Baron, but that means that they know that the rest of the Fighting Saints are nowhere near it. Defile picks up the kill on the Synos. Krell is there to try to challenge his Baron, but he's all alone. He can't even do it. This is going to be a Baron over to St.Olaf.
Yeah, it should be a free Baron, which, unless if we see them slip
Super Mega Death Rocket is coming in. Does not pick up Baron. Almost gets defiled,
really
though.
They're not trying to contest anymore. They're just trying to shove in this mid-wave to make it so that they can potentially get something
all Greek
while
to me.
St.Olaf resets.
Greek to me needs to back off. He does not want to start another engagement here. I think they honestly just give up this turret. Everybody back, heal up your health, get your items, and try to reset these waves.
Yeah, right now, frankly, all Greek to me needs to stay away from Illusionist just because he has very little armor. He has only a Lock of Down Solari as well as Mikhail's Crucible. Again, he's going to Mikhail's for Marvelous Maven, but I feel like he's using it on himself.
Ooh, but he lands a hook onto Exoviet. That is a dead mid laner, and now, unfortunately, Swagnarok has got to run away from Krell, who's just on him like bread on butter. But in the meantime, Illusionist goes down to the Defiled, and the Defiled are there to deal with Krell. He cannot escape this wrath. He goes down a double kill over to the Defiled, and they still have Baron. They can still push out these waves.
On him like bread on butter?
Bread on butter, or butter on bread. What? There's a saying somewhere in there.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around. Like, when you said that, I literally took a double take just because I was like, you said Krell is on Swagnarok like butter on bread. And I'm just thinking here like, so is he spreading himself all over Swagnarok?
Yeah, you know, just
been a nice
just put him in the microwave for 10 seconds. You know, give him a little soft.
God.
And on that note, I'll put up my resume onto another casting site.
I mean, hey, you're gonna stay on the economy with that type of stuff. But either way, we can see that Sinus has now built a Death Dance, which is going to really help sustain side as well as make it so it'll have a little more survivability. So these 12% of the damage dealt to him will now be applied over a damage over time effect, which will make it so that'll be much harder to burst him within these fights, which we did see he had trouble with when trying to contest the Baron against Defiled. He got bursted immediately.
Yeah, now again, St.Olaf is actually playing pretty well for it being 35 minutes into the game. This is not where they're comfortable playing, or at least not where we have seen them have success playing in the past. But doing a fairly decent job. They can catch out Soviet. They get the deletion onto him, but Simon still in the backline trying to get on to Swagnarok, but he gets bursted down as well. Swagnarok goes down to Illusionist. Can Illusionist clean up any of this? But, Defiled has too much damage to be dealt with, and Marvelous Maven might actually get caught out here as Defiled turns his attention onto him. Defiled is having a breakout game on Victor. 10-4-3. Has Lich Bane completed, has Rabadons. He is doing insane, just disgusting damage right now.
Yeah, and I actually just realized I think he mistakenly bought the wrong item because he has a Secret Armor Guard starting for his Zonia's Hourglass. Then he has a Blasting Wand, which does not build into Zonia's. Unless if he's going for a Void Staff and just keeping the Secret Armor Guard to give him a bit of armor, I don't really see the reasoning for that.
Could be just a misclick. Could be interesting build patterns. But either way, that is 2 inhibitors secured for St.Olaf. And this top inhibitor turret is looking not very healthy at all. It goes down right now. Krells might be getting caught out. The hook lands, has a black shield, but he might not be able to escape. He goes down, doesn't even get Keeper's Verdict off, and the Flube actually gets shocked away by Exovia. But right now the Faker is on top of Cynos, has Subjugate, but unfortunately is only able to subjugate the Assassin Jungler, who actually goes down. Maybe not. He gets the shield from Exovia, but now Illusionist goes down. Cynos goes down. Krell is also down. This is 2 members against 4. No inhibitors. Baron empowered minions. This is looking bad for the Fighting Saints, but they get the kill into the wild. Marvelous Maven survives the ultimate. This is 2 members. Can they take down Right Nut? Can they take down the Flute? Marvelous Maven looks like he might not be able to. He goes down. Does not even pop his Zonia's Hourglass, which was available to him. That could have been the turning point, but it does not seem like Exovia will be able to handle these 3 members. The Flube healing all the way up, and this Nexus is going down. That is game 3, going over to St.Olaf.
Our 1-2 record over towards the side of St.Olaf. This could mean that if they can win the next match, they may be able to take it all, which from what we've seen, they'll be able to turn around their weakness of having a weak late game phase, which they are playing against the Fighting Saints, which we have seen between the kind of like mid-tier teams, have the best late game control. St.Olaf has definitely turned around their style.
Definitely. And I mean, with St.Olaf, it's not even necessarily that they struggle in the late game. It's that we don't often see them in the late game because either they'll win quick or they'll lose quick. We've only really seen them in the late game against this team in the Fighting Saints that we saw in week 7, where they were able to win around the 30-minute mark, just before the 30-minute mark, which is at that point, I believe, the latest we had even seen them be able to go, except for one other game earlier on in the split. But now we're seeing a little bit of what St.Olaf is able to do in that late game when they have the patience. They didn't give as many of those picks. Swagnarok was able to clean up his play a little bit, wasn't getting caught out as much by Marvel's Maven and Illusionist's combo. He was kind of letting Greek to me finally get those hooks, and then they were engaging with Defiled, getting that Victor damage and the Caitlyn damage onto the single target once Marvel's Maven wasn't around to land that Black Shield.
Yeah, and I have to say that one thing that the Fighting Saints should look at is changing their top lane pick. Just because we've seen now that Poppy worked in game 1. It worked really well in game 1. However, they're continuing to pick it early on when it's not guaranteed if it will be counter picks, which game 2 and game 3, it was kind of counter picked against the Darius as well as Trundle now, which worked very well against it. Kept Poppy away from the team fights, which is where Poppy shines. Poppy shines in team fight, not split pushing. But when you have people like Darius and Trundle who can just say, you can try and find me 1v1 all you want, I will wreck your face.
Exactly. Trundle feeling very comfortable. I would have liked to see them put more focus onto the Rift Herald. Overall, we have not seen many teams even opt towards trying to get that. But
I haven't seen teams in solo queue either really care for that.
Yeah, if Right Nut had been able to pick that up, I think he absolutely would have been able to stomp that solo lane even more than he already did. But in the end, that was a 12,000 gold lead in the side of St.Olaf. They were able to get the victory. And, I think it was well-deserved. They had a really good draft. And we saw what Fighting Saints were able to do with this new, fresh team comp, having a different AD carry, mid laner, and jungler. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out the way that they planned. Maybe they'll be able to clean it up this next game.
Yeah, and I feel like something that could really go a little bit better in their favor would be to kind of, rather than go for a mid-game focus rather than early-game focus like they tried, they should just continue to play to their style and keep these long, kind of like late-game focused team compositions.
Yeah, definitely. But we will be loading up into this next game. We have gotten word from one of the teams that they would like to start a little earlier. What was it?
Reset your client.
Oh, and we do need to reset our clients also. Hey, good reminder there. But we have received word from one of the teams that they would like to start early. So if we get confirmation from the other one, then we'll get this next game started a little faster, just in the thought of time for all of you viewers and all the players as well.
Yeah. And now we actually are close to 20 viewers within this stream. Great to see that. We also have a lot of chat going on throughout the game now. Very happy to see that, people. Keep up this chat. Keep up this excitement. Again, get these games going out. put the link out in your Facebook, in your Twitter, whatever you want. Just make it so that we can have as many people watching as possible.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a bloody game, this next one. This is the Fighting Saints fighting to stay in this tournament. This is their last chance. If they lose this game now, then they're out until the spring. But if they win, they have a chance to come back again in Game 5. So we'll be loading up on that shortly. We're going to take about a 5-minute break to rest our voices, get some water, and then we'll be right back for all of you viewers.
I can't find my way back to you until you make amends with the demons you've been through. And I can't regret leaving you alone until you find your way back home. Until you find your way back home.
Holy shit, they went right away.
All right, and we are back.
Okay.
And loaded in very quickly. I think both teams are super eager to get done with this next match here. Fighting Saints ready to slaughter, get back into Game 5, and the St.Olaf is ready to prove that, yes, they can win 3 games in a row and take back this match. A lot of very similar bans here. St.Olaf opting to actually ban Kazakhs again, and 3 Assassins. Just like the first 2 games. Blitz and then a Katarina. Now that's a new one. And we actually do have Wolfie Meister back in on the mid lane, which confirms that it was a sub playing mid before. But good to see Wolfie Meister, the whole crew back together. They're doing pretty well without him. So I'm curious to see maybe it was scheduling issues, and that's why he couldn't be around for the first 2 games. But excited to see what he's able to do here.
He is back. And let's see if that gives St.Olaf an even stronger advantage, or if it ends up actually being detrimental to them, because this is their usual mid laner. But we did actually see that before. Oh god, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I'm blanking on the name too. It's Defiled. There we go.
It's Defiled.
We are professionals.
Sorry, Defiled. Don't mean to make you sound any lower than you are, but
Oh, wow, the personal jabs. But
no, it wasn't a personal jab, it was an apology. But either way,
True. Did do very well those 3 games.
And since he is a sub, though, it is show that he may not be exactly the preferred person for this group of people.
Yeah, regardless of how well he did, we have also seen Wolfie Meister be able to carry the team in the past. So I'm excited to see what he's able to do here. Coming back in this pretty integral game. This is a lot of pressure on him, because if they lose this, it's going to go to 5 games in the overall match. So he's really got to bring his A game. Hopefully he's been warming up.
Nautilus locking too. I wonder if that's going to be a Nautilus support finally for All Green to me. It is another hook champion.
It is, and they're
really big, heavy hooks.
taking it away from Sinos, who played it the first 2 games, opted to Kazakhs, but now they banned out Kazakhs. So it's going to be interesting to see what Sinos takes on. Maybe that's Zach.
Is that going to be a Malphite lock-in for top lane? I mean, we did say that you should stop playing Poppy, and this is definitely an alternative.
Definitely is, and it's locked in along with LeBlanc, who has been banned the past 3 games. So we're finally seeing why LeBlanc was banned, because ex-Soviet picking it up for himself. And now we're wondering what is going to be picked up on the side of St.Olaf. They're hovering the Kindred.
I wonder if this will be locked in, because Kindred I don't feel like will do too well against a Malphite who likes to really stack armor. Meanwhile, Kindred is pure magic, or physical damage, not magic.
We're struggling here. Give us a break. We're up early. But yes, Kindred, not a super popular jungler right now, but maybe.
Oh, Ivern! Lock it in. Don't. I bet you
they know. They know that this happens to us every time.
I am loving Ivern support. As I mentioned before last week, I have been playing Ivern as a tank jungler who I absolutely love. He's essentially an aggressive version of Cam.
Oh, but they do instead opt for the Mundo. They were teasing us.
Zillion.
It was the troll, but yeah, the Mundo probably. But again, we don't know who's going jungle. It could be Mundo, probably Mundo, since they played in the past 2 games. But it also could be Nautilus. We could see the Mundo flex top.
It could still be something else, because it could be a Mundo top Nautilus support.
Could be
a double flex.
Could be Zillion support. We have no idea.
Actually, yeah.
Once again,
technically
welcome to
speaking,
or Minnesota LCS.
Technically speaking, all 3 champions they have is flex.
Yeah.
It's actually a very good strategy when it comes to early picking because they're not too sure what counters what. However, if that is a Zillion mid, it'll be incredibly vulnerable to the Blanc until he hits level 6, and then he can easily keep himself alive with his ultimate. But the Blanc should have easy follow-up with that since your cooldowns are now much lower than before post-rework. It just is going to be a matter of whether or not they have the right idea behind how aggressive they want to be, how wave clear focused they want to be, how objective focused they want to be. And again, a very late game setup with this Jinx. Let's see if they can pull it off this time around though, because last time when they tried using the Jinx, they were not able to get it to full kind of like power setup. It was doing pretty well late game, but the moment it died, or the moment Jinx died once in a team fight, mostly due to the Victor, which now is not going to be picked up for St.Olaf. It could still be.
Could be.
Because this could again be a Zillion support.
Or Victor support.
Something.
Zillion jungle. You know, we don't know.
We have seen weirder things.
Not many. But you know what? Prove us wrong. St. Thomas, or St. Olaf. Wow. Saying the wrong school name. Shame on me. But again, this is Marvelous Maven's 4th game in a row now on Morgana. He loves his champion, and this is their 2nd game in a row with the Morgana Jinx combo on the bot lane. So now we're going to see if St. Olaf is able to capitalize on the same mistakes that they were making in that past game. It looks like they're picking up their bot lane combo here with Twitch and Karma rounding it out, and I would assume that it is going in order of lane, Nautilus top, Mundo jungle, Zillion mid with the Twitch Karma bot lane, but they could always move things around depending. I think this is going to be locked in. I like this bot lane specifically. I like Twitch Karma into Jinx Morgana. Morgana doesn't really have many things to Black Shield. It can get the binding from Karma, but that's not really where a lot of Karma is coming out from.
I just realized finally see Synos on Zach. The champion that in the regular split was pick and ban for Synos, and now he's finally getting returns. But before we saw Nautilus and then Kha'Zix being his preferred champions in this playoff series, but it's been unbanned this entire time, and finally he decides, I'm just going to pick up my comforts.
Well, I mean, Nautilus is picked against him. Kha'Zix is banned against him, so he's going back to that comfort pick. It was, like you said, 100% pick ban against that player during the split. So I would have liked to see it a little earlier, but he did have some success on those other junglers. So it is showing just how big his champion pool can be, since Zach was banned against him very often in the split. Synos has really come out showing all the different junglers he can play.
I'm actually surprised that we still see All Greek to me with the Ignites on Karma, a very peel-focused champion. For all we know, we could be seeing him go full AP. We see a full AP Karma.
We could. That would be a treat for our eyes. We saw the Karma's mid played very frequently in the early weeks.
But even that was a supportive Karma mid. That was not an aggressive Karma. That was still built with items such as, I believe it still had a Ardent Sensor built in most games.
True, but it still was able to get those one-shots onto the 80 carries, onto the squishy supports.
That is true.
Potentially we'll see All Greek to be doing that. We've seen that he has the most kills as a support in this tournament. It was confirmed, as you looked up earlier.
No. It was actually to the support of the James Spike Gophers. No.
The Top Dogs.
Yes, the Top Dogs.
Yes. So,
with Gavin 97.
Yes, Gavin
because
97.
of his brand game, he ended up still having the most kills, which that one game wasn't seen. However, we are focusing now on the playoff matches. We have 2 minutes until we will go into this match. There are some things that I'm not liking about this pick ban phase from both teams. One is going through the fact that they locked in the Malphite so early when Malphite can easily be kind of like picked against by having a mixture of damage that they do have. They have 3 champions that can deal decent magic damage, well, 4 with the Ignite Karma. But double Ignite also means plenty of true damage as well as Twitch passive, as well as a ton of physical damage coming from Twitch with the more recent full crit build of a Ruden's Hurricane into an Infinity Edge that we've been seeing within solo queue. It right now is a pretty high win rate. And there's also one big issue that I don't like. I think I would have actually preferred seeing the Karma mid and the Zillion go support, just because we saw that Ragnarok was having a bit of trouble in the laning phase whenever there was that chain CC between Marvelous Maven and Illusionist. And however, a Zillion would be able to kind of mitigate that by using the Chrono Shift onto Ragnarok to save him after the effect. Meanwhile, a Karma, all she can do really is add a shield, which will increase the effective up a little bit, but not too much.
The speed boost will be helpful, though, I feel. I think that it could have been either way, because Zillion, again, still has that speed boost as well. So it's fairly similar for both of them.
Well, I also feel like a Karma mid would have been better against the LeBlanc, because Karma mid would have a lot more safety against the LeBlanc.
I do agree with that.
As well as better, well, actually, no, Zillion has better wave clear than Karma, but Zillion is also a little more vulnerable.
Yeah, and something that we haven't mentioned yet, though, is the engage potential coming on the side of the Fighting Saints. They have Malphite's Unstoppable Force
And
Zach's ultimate, along with Morgana's ultimate. I mean, if they can chain all three of those, that's a full team lockdown for a good 5 seconds. That's going to be in a lot of time for ex-Soviet and Illusionist to be able to jump in onto the Zillion, who cannot activate his ult because of the CC chain, on to the Karma, who can't really do anything to defend herself, again, because of the CC chain. So if they can jump onto the squishy targets while all those chain ultimates are going off, it's going to be a huge team fight advantage on the side of the Fighting Saints. The struggle is the communication. How are they going to communicate? Who's going to use what ult, in what order, and how are they going to group as a team in order to make it happen?
Yeah, that is very true, and we will be getting to this game real shortly. Let's take a look at some of the Keystone masteries that each member of the teams will be picking up. I imagine it's going to be fairly similar to what we've seen before. The top lane is going Grass with the Undying, even though actually I'm surprised I have not been seeing nearly as much Courage with the Colossus. Never mind, we actually see that from both top lanes this time.
I am often confused why it is picked up on Malphite. Now, maybe you could explain this more to me. It is only for hard CC, so that means no slows, only roots, stuns, fears, taunts, things like that. Malphite, only the ultimate is able to engage that. And I've actually seen this picked up all the time on Malphites. I'm not a top laner. I'm a support main, so it makes sense to me on Alistair. It makes sense to me on Nautilus. But I'm wondering, why take that on Malphite as opposed to Grass with the Undying?
Now, here's the thing. Early game laning phase, Grass with the Undying would be better just because it allows you to sustain, allows you to get more farm. But Malphite is not a champion that needs that farm in the early game. He just needs to be able to get the levels, hit level 6, because essentially most of Malphite's usage is his ultimates and then having a little bit of follow-up. However, Grass with the Undying requires you to be in long, drawn-out fights, which is not what Malphite really strives for. He can be good in long, drawn-out fights thanks to his W ability, making it so he gets bonus damage per auto attack based on his armor. However, his key moment is when he uses ultimates and being able to survive right after that, which having that massive shield, being able to keep you alive that much longer, is better in the long run than having Grass with the Undying, which shields you for a very little bit comparatively.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. We are seeing ex-Soviet fail to load into the game, so we're going to have to take a few moments here to ensure that he can connect. Just a little bit of issues with the network there. But looking at some of those other Keystone Masters, we talked a lot about top lane, a lot about specifically Krell on the Malphite, but mentioning Illusionist and Swagnarok both opting to take Warlord's Bloodlust. Now, specifically on Jinx, who is a very auto attack focused champion, we've seen that Forever Battle has lost kind of a advantage with her because of the changes in the latest patch. Do you think that Warlord's Bloodlust is the best mastery for her now?
I still think that Warlord's Bloodlust is the best just because the difference between Warlord's Bloodlust and Fervor of Battle is essentially which stage of the game do you want to be fighting in. Fervor of Battle is very good the later the game goes on. Meanwhile, Warlord's Bloodlust is best in the early game just because it stops any lane bullies from being able to really shove you out, since as long as you survive the trade, you can easily sustain back up, which is what a Jinx wants. She wants to be able to farm up as much as she can, and as long as she survives, she can always farm up. She has one of the highest range auto attacks with her rockets up, and frankly, a Twitch is kind of like an early game lane bully. He has it where once he gets his kind of first time power spike with the Ruin's Hurricane, that's when he wants to go full aggressive, which for all we know, we can see Yeoman's Ghostblade build still on Ragnarok if he's not really keen on going for the heavy crit, which we did see actually previous games he was going for these crit builds rather than the armor pen builds from previous patches, so it seems like he has recognized that difference.
Yeah, and now looking again at the masteries for both supports, both of them opting to take Thunderlord's Decree. I think that's pretty common for both of them. It's going to be a very aggressive bot lane since Swagnarok also taking Warlord's Bloodlust, that early game Keystone Master. I think both of these lanes are going to be putting out a lot of damage, but also having to get early sustain.
We do see an early invade attempt. It is quickly pulled off because since they were spotted, they recognize that they don't want to try to continue going in. And I really want to actually down talk the Thunderlord's Decree on a Karma, especially against the composition that they are. They are against a Malphite, Zac, LeBlanc, and a Jinx, which is insane amounts of area of effect damage. It would be much better to have a larger shield on, especially if you go Windspeaker's Blessing. That's 10% stronger shields as well as increased armor magicus whenever you shield someone. Which if you go with Redemption, your Mantra Defiance, as well as a Lack of Darren Solari, that is such a large amount of AoE shields for your team that it's basically going to be impossible to kill people.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see because I, as far as I can remember, we have actually not seen a single Windspeaker's Blessing picked up on Karma. I often like to talk about the difference between the two of them on the support build. Mid lane, it makes a lot more sense to take the Thunderlords, but support, it's always kind of up in the air depending on the matchup. I do agree. I think this is one where Windspeaker's Blessing might have been a little better, but again, it's going to depend. If All Greek to me's very aggressive roaming style can pick up more kills with Thunderlords, I think that that's going to play better towards the team there.
Yeah, and another thing that I'm going to be looking at is the top lane item pickup. Right now, we see that Krell with the Corrupting Potion, which is a fine pickup just because it's going to make it so he'll consistently have sustain throughout the lane without having to buy more potions. And already, we can see that Thunderlord's Decree actually going to a bit of use. Chunking out Illusionist down to half health already. However, we did mention he does have Warlord's Bloodlust, which will allow him to sustain. We should see him probably full health about 40 seconds once the next wave comes in. Although already All Greek to me is going for more aggression.
Yeah, getting all up in the face of the Fighting Saints. No fear on this Karma.
But as I was mentioning earlier, the Dorn's Reign on right now to Faker.
Oh, and DeFlue showing his expertise on this Mundo jungle. Always throwing us for a loop, saying, hey, look, it's calculated, guys. I know how much health I have. Don't worry.
Yeah. Now, okay, as I was mentioning, right now to Faker, I feel like it would have been better for him to have a Ruby Crystal because it would allow for him to go for a Sunfire Cape much faster, which would be much better in this sense than going for the Dorn's Reign, which would allow him to have slightly better wave clear early on. However, eventually he's going to have to sell that, which will be wasted gold that he could use somewhere else.
I think that the added mana regen will just help his sustainability in lane. He's going to struggle against the Malphite in being able to clear these waves and also being able to keep up that aggression coming
I'd easily argue against that just because Nautilus has an insane wave clear with both his E and his W. So it's up for grabs, depending on the way that the player likes to play. If he likes to play more aggressive style, then Dorn's Reign is better. If he wants to play more I'm going to farm up forever style, then Ruby Crystal would be better.
Yeah, now we're seeing already the jungler going into the mid lane onto Exoviet, maybe burning a summoner spell, but it doesn't look like Exoviet's in that much danger right now.
Yeah, he does have the mobility of LeBlanc in order to keep himself safe. And frankly, there's not too much mobility from Wolfmeister or DeFlube, and already we can see Swagnark going very heavy against Illusionist.
Yeah, and Marvelous Maven actually getting bursted down, flashing from All Greek to me, but he might be giving up first blood himself. Exhaust is on him. Heal has already been blown, but his shield barely comes in. But in the meantime, Synos is on the top side. He is opting to back instead. Okay, a lot of action happening on the bot side there. 3 summoner spells for 2 in the end.
Yeah, and right now, honestly, the Flube is healthy enough. They could try for a 3-man dive into this bot tower. It is a little early, but they should be able to pull it off.
Yeah, now again, this mid lane, Soviet constantly trying to get on to Wolfmeister, really putting the pressure on the mid lane.
Yeah, and as mentioned before, oh, whoa, already locked on our turret, though.
Yeah, and Greek to me with Swagnarok constantly trying to be aggressive on this bot lane. Really pushing them in, but now Synos is there to answer. He can jump over the wall. This could be a really bad spot as Swagnarok does not have heal. Greek to me does not have flash, but it looks like they're backing off. They're playing it safe.
Yeah, and as mentioned before, we can see that right now the Faker's actually not really having that much trouble against Krell. He does have him down to half health and about double his farm, which I feel like could have been played a little bit differently. We do see, though, that right now Faker does have the lead, so that is what is going to have to be worked with. The Flube constantly farming at the lowest possible level.
Actually going down to about 6 health right there for a moment.
Yeah, he did not throw the cleaver at that moment. Oh! Right now Faker trying to go real heavy.
Again, on to Krell.
Not going to really get much else, though, since he does not have his ultimate up just yet. with this wave coming up, the moment the Cannon Minion dies should be when he hits level 6, which then we may see a much more aggressive play from him.
And Cynos is in this mid lane. He can gank on a Wolfmeister who does not have his ultimate yet either, but does have summoner spells available to him. Looks like Krell is going to have to back up right now, just say, hey, yeah, I'll take two free tower shots. Why not?
Yeah. And we see that Ragnarok is looking for these plays using the invisibility of Twitch. However, that is a camouflage now rather than visibility, which means that it can be spotted out by ping boards, as well as you will be seen once you get closer to people, which Twitch's old playstyle really calls for getting right next to someone and just popping out of invisibility really fast, being able to pop your ultimate, which is now changed from rat-tat-tat back to spray and pray. I know plenty of people were happy about that, but that whole playstyle is kind of
Greek to
gone.
me missing that empowered Q was crucial to that trade right there, so they wisely decided to back off. And now Wolfmeister forced to flash under his own turret, trying to stay alive against Soviet and Cynos' dive. They take 2 turret shots each. They're both very low, and Deflube is there. Flash away from Soviet, flash away from Cynos. Cynos has his passive available to him. However, Deflube's trying his best to get it, but first blood going over to Swagnarok, and Deflube picks up the kill on Cynos. That was a horrible play, or a horribly gone wrong play, I should say, from the side of the Fighting Saints. They were trying to get that damage onto Wolfmeister under turret, but he wisely was able to flash away, and they had the backup there to clean up those kills.
Yeah, and actually the direction he flashed at first would be seen as questionable to most people. However, it was actually very smart because the only abilities that would have really caused him to die would be the chain from ex-Soviet, which flashing behind the minions denies the potential for that chain to land and makes it so that he is guaranteed the safety. And they were then under the tower very overextended, which allowed for Cynos to easily come in and secure, or for the Flube.
And Faker actually getting massive damage on a Krell, who does have flash available to him, does have an unstoppable force. He does it under turret, but is it going to be enough to stop right now to Faker? He needs one more auto attack. He gets it, but he died at turret. He does not. He survives barely, but those minions are doing damage. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Swagnarok's able to pick up a kill. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Supports die to the 80 carries. So much action happening in those seconds. And Flash was burned from Marvelous Maven as well as Swagnarok, with Ignite coming in from Greek to me. So Swagnarok has heal available, but Illusionist has Flash and heal. As well as Cynos was on the bot side. He's opting to back off a little bit, but Deflube coming in now. Illusionist might be caught out. He has the Flash. He does flash away, but Deflube flashes in. Pops heal. That Summoner spell down for Illusionist. We were just saying how he just had that advantage. Now he does not have it anymore. Deflube burning Flash in the process.
Ooh.
But
Wolfmeister in a little bit of trouble right now because of this aggression from the ex-Soviet. And as we mentioned before, Zillion does generally struggle against LeBlanc. This is part of why I was saying I would prefer seeing All Greek to me actually go with the Zillion support, even though it may not be something he's comfortable with. It'd be much better for the mid lane matchup, which I feel like is a better thing to play for rather than support matchup.
Especially Wolfmeister coming in fresh into this game. He sat out the first 3, so this is his first one of the match so far. It's going to be interesting to see how he handles this pressure, because this is, like we said already, a really big game, but they are doing very well already. They have a 2,000 gold lead ahead. They just secured their first dragon.
Yeah, and that ended up being an Infernal Dragon too, which will go a long way, especially if this is going to be a crit build from Twitch. It looks like he is going for a early Runin's Hurricane, and already we can see is quite a large amount of gold ahead of Illusionist. He has roughly 10 more farm and 2 kills compared to 1 kill from Illusionist.
The big standout, though, is this top lane. Right now, Faker taking that early kill onto Krill, also having a 40 CS advantage, or 35, close to 40 CS advantage, always making Krill farm under turret, which is very difficult to do as a Malphite.
Yeah, and even the jungle right now has quite a large difference, with the Flube being 1,000 gold ahead of Cynos because of that 1 kill and 1 assist, as well as roughly 20 farm ahead.
So this is definitely, I think, a match.
Even being counter jungled by a top lane right now.
I think this is a match that will be defined a lot, as odd as it is, by these tanks. I mean, we have a tank Nautilus top lane and a tank Mundo jungle that are both ahead. So if they can play around these, they should be able to take this victory. But again, I mean, talking that Swagnarok having the advantage in the bot lane is pretty big as well. Illusion is getting caught out a little bit here. I mean, Greek to me is doing so much damage. I really want to be able to see these damage stats at the end of this game, because it seems like he is just constantly pushing Illusionist and Marvelous Maven off of the farm.
Especially back in the match when they had Zyra in game number 2, because that seemed like All Greek to me was doing quite an amazing job. However, most of the credit was still towards Ragnarok as well as Defiled back in that match. However,
but we are seeing Soviet roam down bot.
Will they be going for a dive? They will not, because the minion wave is straight by the tower, so it'd be way too obvious if they were to go past the minion wave that dive is going to be attempted. And it would be quite easy for Greek to make Second Rock to survive, since they do have the heal summoner up as well as the ultimate from Comet to allow a Mantra Defiance.
Yeah, and they also did have a pink ward on the dragon that Soviet was able to pick up for himself. So even though he didn't get a kill, he got a pink ward. Hopefully people cheered back home for that. But now we are seeing a big dive onto the side of the Fighting Saints.
Top 4 ended up not really coming to much use because there was no flashing over the wall from right now Faker, and already Flube is going on Synos.
Yeah, and Synos has got to jump away. He cannot handle Flube in a 1v1 right now.
There should be a free tower, though, for this bot lane. And if it goes on, that means it will be the first blood tower of the game, which so far seems to be a massive impact to suggest which team is going to be able to snowball ahead compared to the other. Right now, we see that Krell is just starting to take some damage onto the top tower. It's not going to be going down nearly as fast.
And if Flube is there to answer, he might even be a little too much for Krell to deal with right now. He's going in. That's one turret shot onto Krell. He has Unstoppable Force as well as Flash almost up, so he should be able to get away. The Flube's really going heavy onto him. He actually, Unstoppable Force is under his own turret to get away. So it's an ultimate for an ultimate trade.
But overall, talking about which ultimate is more useful, it's definitely going to be Krell's ultimate that was a bigger waste right there, just because you need to have Malphite on someone in order to be useful whenever you're grouping up for fights.
And he's also TPing top. I think that's wise. He understands he doesn't have his ultimate anymore, so a TP to engage a team fight isn't going to be that important anymore. He burns it instead to pick up some of that far, mitigate the damage that's happening topside, because he is so far behind of Right Nut Faker right now. Right Nut got some of that shared gold on the bot with that first turret going down. He's also 30 farm ahead with a kill.
You also see that Krell's trying to go to the Zizra portal as a first item, which is a little questionable because it means he has to build plenty of armor, which is not really going to be reaching him too much, except for the fact that we do see that Stricken Rock is going up into the top lane. But he should not really have been expecting this.
Yeah, but now Krell actually getting ulted down by Right Nut Faker. He has Flash available. Can he flash into turret? I don't think it's going to be wise. He might as well just save it because he's going down to Swagnarok. Picks up an easy kill on the top side. But now there's an engagement on the middle. Wolfymeister and Greek to me, can they get away? Greek actually flashes in to try to stop Marvelous Maven's binding, but misses it just barely. It's a very questionable play, but he actually is able to get ulted by Zillion. Now it's a 3v3. Can they get damage onto Synos? Can they get damage onto Soviet? Soviet is actually able to pick up a kill. Synos goes down, but he has passive. Now the Fluke's going to have to get away because Marvelous Maven's on him. Can he get the ultimate? The Fluke barely gets away with his ultimate burned now. He's going back in. Everybody is so low on health, but Soviet gets the kill onto the Fluke. Now Wolfymeister's all alone. Synos tries to engage, takes a turret shot, has to flash away, but can the Ignite get the kill? It does!
A 2-for-2 trade overall.
Ooh!
Actually, wait, was it 2-for-2?
In the mid lane, it was a 1-for-2, but they were able to pick up that kill on the top side, so overall a 2-for-2. Krell has no chance of defending this turret, and he's going to be going down again. What is he doing under this turret? He has Marvelous Maven to come up now. Can Wolfymeister get down to Soviet? The bomb, is it enough? It is not. Krell, Unstoppable Force, back into Smackdown. He could have Unstoppable Force away to save his life. Instead, he gives up a kill to Right Nut a Faker. Very questionable play. He thought he had the damage on the Swagnarok.
An AP Malphite, so he will not be doing nearly as much damage as he's anticipating. And he's still going to finish the CC Rock portal, so he won't be able to place down the Void lanes in order to make it so that they can actually defend tower.
Greek to me going straight in onto Illusionist in the 1v1. He's getting so much damage. Heal comes out from Illusionist. Ignite is on him though. Can he get away? Flashes away from Greek to me. And that was the support bullying out the enemy AD carry.
I feel like all Greek to me could continue chasing with the Defiance move speed boost in order to make it so that he would be able to catch back up to Illusionist. However, Illusionist also could have played that better by simply kiting. He has Warlord's Bloodlust, so he should be able to heal up decently. However, you can actually see that he was holding on to quite a bit of gold. He had roughly 2,000 gold that he was still holding on to just because he really wanted that BF sword.
Yeah, and now he has it, so hopefully that won't happen again. But we are seeing now St.Olaf really running away with this game. It's 15 minutes in. They have a 5k gold lead. We saw this happen last game, but now Wolfymeister getting engaged upon by 3 members. He has the Flube there to try to kite off. He has Right Nut a Faker, and now the rest of the team is here. It's a 5v3. The Fighting Saints do not want this. That's 1 down. There's going to be 2 down. Synos does not have passive. That is 2 members of the Fighting Saints dead.
Possibly a tower if they want to keep going.
Oh, and Swagnarok hits the red blade. Can he get onto Illusionist? Oh, the poison is ticking down.
No, there is a potion as well.
Oh, and the poison is just barely not enough. He had 60 health left, but it will mean a dragon. Will mean a dragon picked up for St.Olaf.
This could also be a mid tower too, because Exovia is still down, so is Sinos, and there's no one there to defend mid, and we see that Swiggenrock is already there shoving in the tower, and the other members of the team should be going in to join him in just a moment.
This is exactly what St.Olaf wants. They want the fast game. They do so well when they're ahead, and Krell is just trying to farm a little bit behind the turret. He knows he's tanky enough to survive, and he has his Rot Portal built now, so this will be constantly pushing in to right now the Faker. They do pick up the middle turret, however, and now Soviet's just trying to clean up anything he can.
Yeah, Krell did end up escaping. However, he may be caught out again by right now Faker if he is spotted. Not spotted enough. All right.
Yeah, that was rough. But right now will easily be able to push out these waves. He has the completed Sunfire. He has a wave pushing with him.
Now, the issue is that he'll now be able to easily take down the Zizarot portal, which means that it will not be back up for wave pressure for quite a long time. It'll be roughly 50 seconds, actually. So there is no way for Krell to really deal with right now Faker's wave clear unless he tries to kind of take it on 1v1. But without the active Zizarot portal, he does not have the appropriate stats to do so.
Yeah, I think Krell would have been much more wise to drop the Zizarot portal a little further back in lane, maybe even under his own tower, and then not even bend top lane. Just let Zizarot portal push out the lane by itself. Use your ultimate to help engage these team fights elsewhere on the map. I mean, we've seen that they've struggled getting caught out in these 5v3s. If Krell was just with the team more, maybe he'd be able to help out and mitigate some of that damage.
Can completely agree with that. And we do see that it looks like right now Faker is going for a Abyssal Scepter build, actually.
Interesting choice there. I was expecting originally his own drop portal, but now Swagnarok doing a 1v2 on a Marvelous Maven, and Illusionist gets taken down actually in the end by a 1v4, but still picks up a kill in the process. That is how far ahead this player is right now. We're
right
looking.
Now Faker going very close. He does have Death Charge up, so he could try for an aggressive play.
Yeah, it looks like not, but Swagnarok being 2,400 gold ahead of Illusionist. That is almost an entire item. He is outputting just insanely disgusting amounts of damage.
Yeah, and we do see that this is 2 dragons and 4 turrets
Simon's trying to ult in. He gets caught out a little bit. Right Nut actually picks up a kill, picks up another one. Can he go for the triple? He's not even taking that much from these turrets. He's a huge tank in this fight right now. Able to get away safely, but still, oh, he's not done. Going on the Soviet. There is no quarter given to the team, and Krell has to unstoppable force away, but still dies to Wolfmeister's bomb. That is 3 for 0 and a mid-turret lost.
Yeah, we do see that Wolfmeister wins the Archangel staff route of a Zillion build, which is not too common build. You see a lot more people from mid lane going a Rod of Ages build just because it is quicker scaling, as well as a little bit safer since you do get the health from it. However, once you reach a full late game, that is going to be incredibly powerful for the side of St.Olaf. And we already see that because of them having this lead, they're not really behind because of it.
Yeah, now fighting stance again, that Zerot portal put a little bit further back. Now I like that. I like that Krell understood, look, let's not put it down and then draw attention to top lane by having me go there. Let's just put it down, let it silently creep up, and I'll try to engage somewhere else. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. They still lost that team fight. But the idea was there, and I like that they're cleaning up their play a little bit. They don't need to have a member top if they have a Zerot portal put down on their team.
Yeah, that's very true, and we do see that to try and mitigate some of this healing from the Mundo, that Soviet is going for the Morale Namicon as the next item in his build. However, I feel like just because you need that 40% health threshold in order to have the Grievous Wounds activate, it'd be much better to just have Illusionist pick up a Executioner's Calling. That's only 800 gold to have the passive pick up whenever.
Yeah, I definitely think that Illusionist needs to see that need for his team and adapt his build to fit that in. He doesn't need to upgrade all the way to Lord Dominic's or to Mortal Reminder. All he needs to do is get that Executioner's Calling just so he can stop some of that healing coming in from the Flu. But then he can finish up his Rune Answer Arcane. But now Krell getting caught out a little bit by right now. He has that big wave with him.
Yeah, and we do see that the Flube is also in the bot lane, shoving up very heavily, potentially going for this turret, which right now is completely uncontested. However, the fighting stance are going as 4 members to try and stop that. He should be getting cut out here in just a second.
And now, can he do the 1v2? He is a very tanky Mundo. He pops his ultimate to try to get away, but there's so much CC coming in from Sinos and Exoviet. He might need to turn and fight. And now they're afraid, thinking, oh yeah, we might not be able to take this. Plus, they have 3 members on the mid lane. His mid turret is in very big danger of going down here if they do not reply, which they do. They send all 5 members there. And now that leaves the Flube on the bot, but Sinos jumps in on Greek to me. Krull on top of forces in. They get one kill. Rather, they don't. Greek to me is able to flash over the wall, and right now the Faker is being huge with Wolfiemeister picking up 1 kill, 2 kills, 3 kills. That is 3 members down, almost 4 members down of the Fighting Saints. And Sinos is going to be following suit. He does not have his passive. He flashes away. Right now, barely missing that hook. That would have meant death for Sinos for sure. And this mid lane, as well as the mid inhibitor, look to be going down.
Yeah, definitely. This will be the inhibitor going down, and also the bottom inner tower going down as well. They potentially group up and rotate straight to the bottom inhibitor tower. However, with Illusionist and Marvelous Man.
Oh, the hook lands onto Exovia. Can he dash away? He does. Right, not getting that much damage in, and the rest of the team is there to follow up. They got to be a little careful. They might be getting a little cocky, but Wolfiemeister's damage is huge. Being able to pick up a kill as well as gifting the kill to Right Nut a Faker with all that damage going on to Marvelous Maven. But now Right Nut, so tanky, dealing with 2 members on his own, while Krull actually shuts down Wolfiemeister. He's on the back line. The Flube and Greek to me are struggling. Swagnarok is there, however. He's got the damage. Can he get it before Greek to me goes down? He does not. That's a double kill on to Krull. He goes down in the end, but great hero play from him. But now Illusionist is all alone. He looks to be going down. That is an ace. Marvelous Maven and Exovia will be up soon, but this could mean another inhibitor down for the side of the Fighting Saints.
Yeah, and it could also rotate towards top lane, because that is also a very large built-up wave. Look at how large that is. That's roughly the size of 3 minion waves altogether. They can easily rotate if they want to, but it looks like they're just going to opt to do a full reset because they're saying, you know what, it's now risky. We have stayed too long. And just looking at what each team has done successfully and unsuccessfully, honestly, it's going to be how well they played with these bot lanes. Because every team has a similar composition where top, jungle, middle, and supports are all magic damage dealers. Meanwhile, the only physical damage that's coming from the other team is their bot lane AD carries, which most of the tanks have been building magic resist to try and counter all the magic damage present on both teams. Without having that much armor, it means that it's very easy for either of these AD carries to do the job that they have to, and now you see that the tanks that they have are trying to desperately keep up with all the physical damage that the AD carries are offering, which Illusionist right now offers next to none.
Yeah, what's interesting to note, however, is that they are starting to build a lot more armor. I mean, we're seeing Krell build the Warden's Mail. It's going to make him survive a lot longer against the Twitch. We also see Right Nut a Faker also with the Sunfire Cape and Dead Man's Plate. That's a decent amount of armor there. So, I mean, they're both respecting. I think it's really smart for Right Nut a Faker. Yeah, this early game, the AP dealers are going to be doing a lot more damage, but if Fighting Saints can get to late game, Illusionist is absolutely going to be their biggest threat. So I think it's smart for him to build that. Not only is it going to make his offensive stats a lot higher with Sunfire Cape constantly doing damage in the wave clear, also Dead Man's Plate being those really strong engages, it's just going to make him survive so much longer, and we see that with a 607 stat line. He has not died once this game.
Yeah, that's very true. And with the super minions building up in both the bottom and the middle lanes, they have an easy time going for this Baron. They have already a good ward coverage. They do need to wait a little bit just for the...
And now Right Nut a Faker's on to Ex-Soviet with the rest of the team. Instead, looking on to Baron. Krell on top of forces in, but cannot secure the Baron. Now he's all alone. He does not have flash available. He's going down. That was the hero play that he was trying to get, but he did not have the damage. Right Nut is 1v3, taking down the Fighting Saints, and Marvelous Maven goes down to a bomb on Wolfiemeister, placed strategically onto Right Nut. This is looking awful. They have 2 waves of super minions with Baron buff. They're also pushing out this top turret, and only 3 members of the Fighting Saints up to mitigate this damage. Illusionist does not have the damage to deal with these super minions, and he's going to be going down as well to these bombs that Wolfiemeister's throwing out there. He's taking so much damage, actually goes down to Greek to me with that damage, and this is game 4 going over to St.Olaf. They just won their first playoff match.
Well, playoff series.
Playoff series. It was a match. It was a match.
It's a series of matches.
True. Series of games.
Yeah, series of games. But now we can say with confidence that St.Olaf is is the team that won this series, the second series within the playoffs, which means that they will be going up against the UMN Wombats next Tuesday at 7 p.m.
That is going to be an explosive match. The Wombats are ranked number 2 right now in the tournament, having only 1 loss in the overall split to University of Minnesota Duluth Top Dogs, who got that. I believe they got the number 1 seed. Am I right on that or no?
Yes. The Top Dogs have the number 1 seed because since the GameSpy Gophers dropped out, the between match setup for the GameSpy Gopher or for the Wombats and the
we are getting a report that University of Minnesota.
That should be backwards. That should be the other way around.
Okay, some confusion coming from our side. There were matches played to determine who got that first seed. I know that happened last Monday. We'll check up and maybe update the Facebook page to let you know who is that number 1 seed. But regardless, they will be playing the Wombats, as it were, and that's going to be a fun match for them. They proved that they are better than their rivals, the Fighting Saints. They earned that Saint name of St.Olaf. And we'll see if they're able to continue going forward in this tournament. But I think there's still a lot more to talk about that series before we sign off here.
Definitely.
What were some of the highlights that you saw in that?
The highlights I saw was basically the ability for St.Olaf to be able to rotate the way they want to play within each game. We saw game number 1, they tried to stick very hard to their early game strategy without really picking a strong early game team. And they allowed the Fighting Saints to kind of play to their own strengths, which was a bit of a downside. That's why they lost game 1. Game 2, they came back. They went for a much harder early game focus of a draft while still letting the Fighting Saints have the same exact composition that they had before. So it was still a very heavy late game team, but they started to say, you know what, we'll go heavier on our early game, just play to our strengths. And they ended up winning because of that. Game number 3, they said, you know what? Let's call your late game. Let's call your late game and say, you know what? We will meet you in this late game and beat you still, which they end up doing because it was a very close match. They overall had a weaker late game draft, but they had a strong enough early game lead, especially on the Mundo, to make it so that he was very hard to take down and he was a large threat throughout a majority of the game. Same as we saw within this match. It ended up being 4-1-7.
Yeah.
As well as right now Faker being so massive too, but it was mostly being able to make it so that they made sure their solo lanes had just as a strong advantage as the side lanes or the bot lane specifically. And it made it so that they could play to their strengths rather than trying to make up for their weaknesses, which is something I love to see teams do. I hate to see it whenever a team says, this is what we're weak with and we're going to try and cover it up. Instead, they just say, I'm going to ignore my weakness and focus on my strengths, because that is what allows a team to really win and play to their own style.
Definitely. And I mean, I think one of the breakout players in this game was actually Greek to me. I mean, he wasn't having super big games on the Thresh, which is what we expected. His 2 breakout games were actually on Zyra and on Karma. I mean, he did a lot, not only for his lane partner Swagnarok, but also just in the late game, getting the damage down that he needed to and just protecting his teammates when he needed to. Also, I think Right on a Faker really stepped up, showing not only how big his champion pool is, but also just what he can do with all those champions.
Now, actually, if we're going to vote for anyone to be like a player of the series throughout this match, I would actually give it to Defiled, just because he was the sub player for this team. And he was able to show up very strong within the first 3 games. Yes, he did technically lose game 1, but he showed up very powerful in games 2 and 3, being able to have excellent wave clear, excellent 1v1 potential against Exovia, who we saw had a very good rise, but was able to still lose against Cassiopeia, as well as play pretty poorly against the Victor when he was on Orianna, which that is a skill matchup, the Orianna versus Victor, so it was good to see that his skill on the Victor was better than Exovia's skill on the Orianna, and I'd say being a step-in member for the team, he should get the crown for the MVP.
Definitely. But with that in mind, I think Wolfmeister did a really good job coming in so late to the tournament. I mean, coming in that crucial game 4, that was a lot of pressure on him, but he showed up huge. 5, 2, and 8, landing those bombs where he needed to. Oftentimes actually opting to drop it onto Right Nut before he queued in to get that hook to ensure that he got some damage, and then just delivering a second bomb onto Right Nut to get the stun follow-up. That was so much CC chain and so much damage coming through as well. So I think it was definitely fair, the matchup between Zillion and LeBlanc, usually going in LeBlanc's favor, but I think Wolfmeister still showed what Zillion can do in the late game, regardless of how behind he could potentially be in the middle.
Oh, that is extremely true. And talking about the side of the Fighting Saints, I feel like one of the weaker parts of their whole setup was part of the draft phase, specifically in the top lane with Krell. just because they were focusing too much on trying to get someone that could scale well into the late game. But they would always pick it way too early in the draft. That would allow the St.Olaf squad to kind of just say, we'll just pick something that's good against it. They should wait until later in the draft to pick up the people that they want to scale harder to make sure it doesn't get counterpicked so early in the draft. And Krell constantly in games 2, 3, and 4 showed up in that weakness side of when he gets counterpicked, he struggles extremely hard.
Yeah, definitely. But I think overall, all 4 games are pretty good. None of them too stoppy. I think both these teams very close in skill and overall player level. So I definitely feel that this was a fun one to watch. I loved being able to cast it, being a part of this. But that will be the end of our Game 2 for the playoffs of Minnesota LCS, sponsored or Playoff Series 2 rather, sponsored by Enhanced Gaming. There we go. Enhanced Gaming, as well as Catcher's Caravan, bringing your casters for the day. This is my first sign off, so to commemorate, I'd like to give Fenris the option to maybe give some last words here, since he always makes fun of mine.
Well, for some quick last words, I'd love to just say that each team played very well. It was great to see it, and I look forward to seeing how well these teams can play against some of the higher seeding matchups. We do have St.Olaf going up against the UMN Wombats back on Tuesday, and then next Saturday we'll be having the Slum Dogs versus the Top Dogs. Both UMD teams will be up against each other in a hometown rivalry, so that's what I'm looking forward to most.
Definitely. I was looking more of a side-off along the lines of peace out, home slice, or hang tight, Jay Slizzle.
You know what my line is? My line is, thank you all for watching. I'll see you on the Rift. That is my personal line. Like, that's my line. That's what I love to say. I love to say, we'll see you on the Rift.
All right. Well, in the spirit of that, thank you, everybody, for stopping by and listening to our cast. Sorry for some of the technical difficulties earlier, but we were able to clean it up. And look forward to seeing you all next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Be there to hear our lovely voices, and peace out, home slices.